Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally live. Took us a while to get going. I think it's because the Russian bots are against us today.
Yeah.
But, anyway, today's August.
Wow.
Welcome to August, everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got some of this. Soda pop.
Yeah. What flavor soda pop?
This is very cherry cola. Come along. You belong. Feel the fizz of very cherry cola.
The fizz that burns.
Feel the fizz. Oh. So yeah. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Let's listen to some music.
You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I never loved another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know, I'm feeling love. You gotta know, I'm feeling love. You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I'll never love another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. I might as well be in our garden. I said a smell in the air is a dripping rose. You can be the one for me. I know the soul to be my warden. Of anything there that's made of gold. A physical kiss is nothing without it. And you close your eyes to see what it's done. The body that lies is built up on looking. It's all that remains before it's begun. You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I'll never love another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I'll never love another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. A heart will swell before it's hardened. With the flick of the hair, it can make you old. Another hole to dig my soul in. I'll leave anything bare that keeps me sold. A physical kiss is nothing without it. And you close your eyes to see what it's done. The body that lies is built up on looking. Is all that remains before it's begun. You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I'll never love another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know, I'm feeling love, made it gold. I'll never love another one, another you. It's gotta be love, I said it. You gotta know, I'm feeling love,
Alright. What is it? Thursday?
It is. Thursday.
Tomorrow's Friday. Exciting. This is our pre-Thursday or pre-Friday show. We're preparing for the holy day tomorrow. Just like they used to sing, Thursday is a special day. It's the day we get ready for Friday. We wash our hair and we comb our clothes, and we don't have to eat until Sunday. I don't know, it's a weird song.
Yep.
I didn't quite understand that when they gave it to us. So, yeah. So yesterday was a super late show. Because I was gone. I was taken up in the spirit of the flying spaghetti monster. I don't even recall it. I don't recall a lot of what I was doing. Yeah, because flying spaghetti monster totally took my brains, right, and just had me do stuff. So that's what, oh, sorry about this. Meridian Heights is here. Good morning, Meridian Heights. Sorry for no morning show yesterday, but we do have it recorded. Look at this. Let me show you this. We've got this. And here's all the audio, right, from when I was out on the street. I've got 9 hours of audio and stuff of talking to people. Let's see. Is this talking to people?
Yeah. Cool. If
Yeah, that's talking to people. Was he talking to people an hour later?
you allow me to converse with you and hear what you
Yeah. Let's see if he was talking later.
Jesus live.
Yeah. So here we've got fucking 8 hours of work because because of Flying Spaghetti Monster told me that I wasn't working hard enough, and so he made me work harder. We're getting a lot of comments in the old thing here that the music is a problem, and yeah, music's a problem.
We need a mod.
No. We fucking do it. We get rid of it. We delete them eventually. Because, it's not blocked live, right? You can hear the music live, and that's what the music is for the live show. And, we, eventually get around to deleting them after YouTube sort of says, we got a problem with this one and this one, which takes like a day or two to shake out. And then, it takes us a while to get our asses motivated to go remove that. But yeah, and these videos are never going to get monetized. First of all, we're below the line. We're not in the monetization category, so yeah. And so we can get them unblocked when we remove the songs, and it's definitely not worth giving a shit about it yet. I mean, getting them unblocked is worth it. So we can go and do that eventually, and here's some more shit to get blocked. So there's a song for you. A little bit of a video if you like to watch videos. Which I bet you do. Don't worry about that noise at the end. That's not part of the song. I wonder if it's the algorithm causing the blocks or people don't like your message reporting flagging the videos. Oh, it's definitely the music. They definitely listen to it and then block it. But we just remove the music, it gets unblocked. So I can show you how we do that if you guys want to see it. Let's do it. Let's watch. If we go to our shit here. Yeah. Let's do some behind the scenes. Let's go to our videos. Our live videos. It's going to take a while because we're streaming at the same time, so it's a bit... We're using the entire upstream, or almost the entire upstream, so it's really good when we send messages out. It takes a minute. So this thing here we fucked up, and this thing here is live. But so here we go. See these two ones are blocked. These ones are all public. See, we go back, and this one's partially blocked. We should go work on that. So let's say this one, and then we go. Let's fix it. We go to the editor, and then watch this. You go to the music, and you open the music, and then you go to audio. Isn't that dumb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It opens another page.
Right. So I don't know why we wouldn't just click on music and it goes there. There's only one option under that, and that's the option we want. Here's an option that we want right here. Yeah, but I bet we're getting a lot of people saying that we're against the. Oh, and then you got to go to erase audio. So you see this?
Morning.
Oh wait, don't listen.
Is it
That sounds like me. It's the darkness we can't have. The darkness. I believe in a thing called love. So then we click it and we erase it, and then we save it, and then nobody can watch it for a minute, and then it goes up. Isn't that great? I-Lesson3 Trolling says, so what's up with Jack Black yesterday? Well, that's a good question. Let's that is the story. Let's watch it. Don't look at who I'm following here. Don't read any of this, please. So here's Jack Black's latest video. And in it, he's hanging out with his bandmates. Let's turn this down a little bit. And then they go to the airplane. Let's mute him. Here they are. And see this right here? This is Denver International Airport. You see that right in the background? That's where I live. I go out when I go to LA. I have to go to this airport. Although I do go to the other side of this airport. This is not my side. I'm an East Sider. This is Denver. We're looking west. These are the Rocky Mountains, and I live over here that way up the mountains. 40 minutes. This is where he stayed. I don't even know what road this would be. It's kind of diagonal.
Yeah, Spear.
Yeah, only Spear is diagonal like this, but it's diagonal kind of the wrong way. So I don't know where exactly this is.
Yeah.
It's more toward the airport, so I don't really chill out that way. But he's right here. This is the problem that I have. This place that he's in right here, right? Is this CVS or Target? It's probably CVS or Walgreens, eh? I preach in front of this Walgreens. We've seen it in our videos. This is so he's getting his Metamucil because I don't know, he's a slave. So here's the Jimmy John's. Look on the ground, you can see the I Am Pay design. Mad Greens turns all the way around. That shot would have had me. There's the Walgreens he's shopped in. He's walking east on it. This right here. This is my street. This is my goddamn street. This is the 16th Street Mall. The TJ Maxx. I can film this. I can film where he is. This guy right here was playing yesterday. So Jack Black. There, right. Look, this is the light rail, the Starbucks. I was right here. So it's overcast, so we can't really see what time of day it is, but we can bet that Jack Black doesn't, wake up in the morning. So if I had gotten there in the afternoon, I could have been preaching right here, is what I'm saying. If I was doing my job, if I was a good Pastafarian preacher, because look, here it is. This is Great Clips, the Target is Actually, this is facing north, and so he's south. But so anyway, it's my fault, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a dope. I'm not at my post. I've been slacking my duties, and my only excuse is that it cost me $20 to get to town. This is not on. This right here is not on the mall. This is someplace else. I think this is 6th or Colfax. I think this
Or
is.
Broadway.
Is it Broadway? You think they went to Broadway? This is north south.
Yeah.
Yeah, East Colfax. I win.
Nice.
Yeah, I guessed Colfax and I was right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even showing you guys. Oh, there we go. So then his next thing that he shows, and so then his segment right there on the mall ends. Right, he talks a little bit about street performers and how he loves to give them money, and then he just rocks out to them a little bit. But you could bet that if I were there, we would have talked to Jack Black. He would have definitely seen what we were talking about, and 500,000 views would have seen us. And so, you know, I go to a lot of meetings and we talk about viral stuff, and so there was a little bit of like, I was nervous to go to those meetings and catch hell from the people who'd be like, meh, meh, meh. But really it was the Flying Spaghetti Monster that I let down here. I could have been there, I could have represented him, I could have been at my post, could have been doing my job, and instead I was just trying to not make mistakes and not spend too much money, and it turns out that was the mistake, hey? So everything you do is a mistake, right? If you're like, oh no, we messed up, we made a mistake, remind yourself that what you were going to do instead of that mistake was also a mistake.
It was another kind of mistake.
Right. And so you get to choose your mistakes, make fun mistakes, right? Maybe there's no such thing as good mistakes, so don't try to make good mistakes, you know, just make your mistakes. And if you find that you're making other people's mistakes for a long time, if they sound like other people's mistakes, like, oh, I wasn't down at the 16th Street Mall when Jack Black walked by because I couldn't afford to get down there. That sounds like somebody other than me. So I made a different mistake yesterday, which was I didn't have any money and I went down to the mall anyway. And so it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. It was right after I saw it, in fact. My mind just went, I just saw red. Like I can't recall those moments afterwards. I was told that I did a lot of vacuuming in the house and lamentation. There was a lot of lamentation going on, and then boom, I was gone. But happily, we recorded the audio. When I got there, I turned on the audio, and so we've got hours and hours and hours of the work I done. And yeah, maybe it's not going to fucking be enough to, you know, repay the 500,000 views I missed. But you know, at least you know, it's a symbolic gesture. And so whilst I was doing this symbolic gesture, you'll see here, let's show this entire right screen here, that I did a lot of non-video stuff, and then I done some video stuff. So we can talk about some of the video stuff. We're going to look at that and maybe do a final edit of it today. Because you can see, after I put in that work, after I told Flying Spaghetti Monster that, you know, I was sorry for what I'd done, and that I was ready to be used as a tool in his hands to help people find truth and conversation and love. Learned a lot about myself, out there in the street, about, you know, also I learned a lot about meth, actually, is another thing I learned a lot talking to some of those people out there. I don't think we're going to edit that and put it up because, you know, if you want to learn about meth, you're really not going to learn about it on YouTube. You've got to go talk to those people yourself, and you know, ask them about the meth. I didn't do any meth, and I didn't think I saw any meth, but I had conversations about it with the people who were looking for meth, because I was like, blah blah blah, and they were like, oh, you want some meth? And I was like, no, I don't want meth, I want weed. What are you talking about? And they looked at me like I was a child, you know, like I was using like old toys, like I was still playing on Nintendo gear when we've all moved on to PlayStation, you know what I mean? That's how they looked at me. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I'm a Nintendo guy, okay? I like Nintendo. I'm Daisy, okay? So, yeah. Anyway, don't do meth, kids, because everyone that I know that does meth lives on the street. and it's very, very scary. Imagine converting Jack Black. I can only, unfortunately, imagine, because I had my chance and I fucking blew it. So, you know, Jack Black, I could have saved Jack Black, and instead he's still walking around in ignorance.
He's someone who lives in the moment who would have totally been able to listen to your words.
Yeah, I think he would have gotten one or two of the jokes.
Yeah.
Meridian High says, I love Jack Black. Pick Your Destiny equals one of my favorite movies. Pick Your Destiny is better on the review. Like, when it came out, we sort of expected more from them for some reason. And I think it may have been exactly what it should have been. Pick Your Destiny. I think it may have been a perfect movie. But when we were hoping for the perfect Tenacious D movie, and we got that, we're like, oh, I thought it would have been something a little bit different. So, I think that's our fault as fans for not being like, this is perfect. But, you know what? You know it is perfect. I've got this double DVD album of one of their concerts, and it has like all of their previous work on it. Well, almost all of it. Not like the HBO show, but a lot of the cartoons. Maybe it does have the HBO show on it, but it is very good, and it's I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but it's this double DVD. Before the movie, they released it, and it's got the concert, just an amazing concert in Brighton, I think it is, or it could be just in London, I don't know. But that's a really good Tenacious D fucking thing. House of Fuck Mother Rockers, House of Rock. Are there any notable Pastafarian celebrities? Well, there's me. I am a Pastafarian celebrity. There is, of course, the Prophets, who everyone in the world knows. Bobby Henderson. He's a very, very prominent thing. But as far as like people who've worn out like either pirate regalia or the hat, I think Russell Brand might be Pastafarian. He's just pretending to like be this spiritually guy, but he might not be. It's very hard to tell.
Madonna wore an eye patch, so there was.
That's right. Madonna was an eye patch for a second, so she's like hinting at Pastafarian. Jack Sparrow, of course, is based on some very Pastafarian ideas. So I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Depp has converted. He had to do a lot of research into Pastafarianism for that role, and so but a lot of people like Pastafarians are very, very closeted because. I don't know if you've noticed, but Pastafarians and atheists are kind of lumped together sometimes, and there's no more persecuted group in the world, religiously. There's no more persecuted religion than atheists. Every religion persecutes atheists, right? The Buddhists think that they're stupid. The fucking Christian, well, not the Buddhists because they're atheists, but like. The anti-religious people are persecuted. You were killed in Muslim times, you were killed in Christian times, you were killed in Jew times. Like, if you were an atheist anywhere, you're fucking dead. And there's still no senators, still no atheist senators, even though, there are. You know, I could point out the atheist senators and then try to get them to say the fucking word. Try to get them to self-describe as atheists. Because you can get the Christians to self-describe. You can get the Methodists, the fucking... Oh, I'm a Protestantismist. I don't know what that means. I'm a Wesleyan. Like, they'll fucking tell you exactly what sect they belong to.
Yep.
Also, I don't like how sect and secular have that same sort of sound at the beginning. It makes them seem similar when they're, like, kind of the opposite. Hold on a minute. I've got to drink my very cherry cola. So... a lot of celebrities are Pastafarian, closeted Pastafarians, and so we can go around and look at celebrities and be like, probably Pastafarian, maybe not Pastafarian, probably Pastafarian, maybe not Pastafarian. That would be a fun game. Maybe I'll get a list of flashcards of the celebrities that have a very high chance of being Pastafarians. More comments. Don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are bad, okay? Right. But do your prescription medications. Speaking of which... The guy, one of my friends out on the streets was very, very interested in new drugs, and so he really wanted to see what my cetirizine was like, and I was like, what? It's for allergies. And he was like, oh, come on, give me one. So that's funny. So yeah, Don't do prescription medications if they're not your prescription medications. But definitely do very cherry cola. Check. Prescription medications, check. You gotta like put it on a calendar. Because your brain is bad at remembering if you've done it. So, your brains are bad at it. Except marijuana. It's not that bad, okay? Yeah, especially if you can get a prescription for it. If you can go to the doctor and say, hey, this is my life, you describe your life, and then the doctor says, you know what would help your life? And you'd be like, marijuana? And he was like, well, yeah. And you'd be like, give it to me! And then take your daily medications. It's good for you. The creators of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Should have been called Cloudy with a Chance of Noodly Appendages, eh? Huh? Right?
Right.
That's generally when I would just start a music song. But I did not have one ready. So instead you're going to have to just listen to me make noise while I cue up this music song. Alright, so that is a song by Collage and the Electric Youth. A song about Sully Sullenberger and how he saved all them people that one day on the Hudson. That damn goose got in the way. Almost killed everybody, that goose. Being in the wrong place. Being in the air channels. I don't know what they're called. The airways, skyways.
Yeah.
The highways in the skies. Not following the FCC rules. FAA. The FDA rules. Sully Sullenberger, real hero. A real American hero. Don't you want to be...
How long ago was that?
Over a decade, eh? Isn't it?
Probably.
Real hero.
Yeah.
Who else is a Pastafarian, we're asking? The band members of the Spaghetti Incident? Obviously. They were trying to tell us something. And how long have they been around, eh? Older than 2005, isn't it? See? Also, have you heard that audio? There's an audio of the Grateful Dead recording in the 60s. And then out of, like, it's like they're warming up and they're about to, like, start clicking, okay? And out of nowhere, I think it's the guy, you know, not Grissom, who's the other guy? Jerry Garcia, is all like, Spaghetti Monster! Or something.
What?
Yeah, I think he doesn't. I think
film.
he doesn't say one of the words. He either says flying spaghetti or spaghetti monster. I don't recall what it is, and like nobody knows why, other than, you know, he saw him. He saw the creator.
Wow.
Yeah, so go listen to that. I'll go have to find it. It's way down deep in the archives. I got to go look through it to really find it. Bill fucking Murray starred in a movie called Meatballs in the late 70s. Yeah, before the so-called fucking movement even started. That's why. And you may not know this, Meridian Heights, because this is your first sort of season with us, the 20th episode of this season. But Bill Murray is a saint in our religion.
Yes.
We have beatified him. A while ago, I beatified both Saint Fred McFeely Rogers, and at the same time, I sort of pre-beatified Bill Murray with a couple of his quotations. And I found that here's an update. I found the audio of Bill Murray saying the statement.
Nice.
The quote.
Yep.
It's a quote to the like the Rolling Stone magazine, and so it's in this movie. It's in this documentary on Netflix. Shit on Netflix. Let's start that segment. Welcome back to Shit on Netflix. Let's all watch some shit on Netflix, because you think it sounds like we're just gonna shit on Netflix and like Netflix. We're gonna shit on you like that.
Right.
But instead, it's like here's some shit on Netflix. It's funny. It's like a double entendre. I like that in my titles, eh? Right? People like that. Double jokes. Because if you're like, oh, I don't like this, but I'll like the other one. I'll take the second meaning, thank you. And so that's fun. Like, you don't like the first meaning, you'll love the second one. Like that. So, shit on Netflix. There's a documentary about Bill Murray. It's like Finding Bill Murray or Seeking Bill Murray or something. And it's like the photo is him as on a lady Sasquatch's body. Bill Murray's head on a Sasquatch body. But the documentary is bad because the documentary is a guy telling a story about himself. He's documenting himself and a journey that he's taking. And he's pretending he's not doing that. He's pretending he's not telling you a story about himself from his point of view. He's pretending he's telling you a story about Bill Murray. And so it's a little bit frustrating. But don't worry about that. It's about this guy.
Yeah. And then you get to see.
And we get to see a little bit of clips of Bill Murray because this guy's obsessed with Bill Murray. So it's about this guy's obsession with Bill Murray. It's not really about Bill Murray's propensity to show up into other people's lives and enjoy it, which is what it says it's about. But it does have the audio, like it has that thing, and so it's a gift, right? Even though it's sort of like a guy trying to eclipse Bill Murray and be like, look at me, and it's like, we're trying to look at Bill Murray.
Yes.
Saint Bill Murray. But he does give us access to the voice of the prophet, so that's very nice. So I do advise you to go listen to that. It's about 40 minutes in. You can check my Facebook. I've got a link to it on there. If you search my Facebook for that thing, I've got exactly where that clip starts. And if you don't have my Facebook, please do send me a Facebook link at schizophrenicmitch.facebook.org. So please do link us there. So, and all Italian actors, yes, and Chinese as well. I've read in a book that former President George W. Bush is a closet Pastafarian. Yeah, I've read a couple things that he's a closet something. Meridian Heights ASMR, noise. Redonk is here. Hello, Redonk. I was sitting here waiting for this to start. YouTube never autoplayed it. Go fucking figure. Yeah, I just realized the other day. Well, I'm glad you're here with us. We've been here for about 30 minutes, but we haven't really started the business yet. Hey, the business is about to happen. We have done our prescription medications, so if you have prescription medications, please do put a check there or whatever. So yeah. We'll get our YouTube sort of set up. We are in the very, very beginning of this. We're in episode 20 of season 5, but we're under 1,000 subscribers still, which again is my fault. Apologies.
1,000, not 100.
What?
1,000. We're under 1,000.
Under 1,000. Did I say 100?
Yes.
We're not under 100 subscribers. We're at 750 subscribers.
Yes.
Sometimes I can look at red and say blue. I can point right at it and I can say, "Can you grab me the blue cup?" And I'm pointing at a red cup. And people, and I can do it and I can not notice it also. And people look at me and they say, "Did you mean blue?" And I say, "Yes." So sometimes in your life, you're going to have to say to people you love, and maybe even yourself, "Did you mean blue?" And they're going to have to be able to say yes. Okay, so there's some kind of people who don't like it when that happens, and they blame you for it, right?
Yeah.
So when you say, "Did you mean blue?" you're like, "Ah!" like that, and it's your problem. So
Like, why are you pointing out that?
Right. So don't be that kind of person. Be the kind of person that's like, "Yeah, I can do that. My brain can do that. It's totally capable of that." And that's a good thing to confess because you can. Your brain can do that. Be really, really careful in that brain. You can point at blue and say red. If you can't do it, please do sign up for the seminar. We'll teach you how to do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
4 hours seminar.
4-hour seminar.
Can
Remember when Jesse Eisenberg shot Bill Murray in the chest with a shotgun? Zombieland, right? Yeah. That is the best part of Zombieland. They're making Zombieland 2, and it's like, how are you going to make a Zombieland 2 without Bill Murray? Who wants to see Jesse Eisenberg? No one. Who wants to see Jesse Eisenberg shoot Bill Murray? Oh, well, me, please. Thank you. See? Totally different. No, Bill Murray is the highlight of that movie. He's in the second act, and he's sort of the comedy relief in the second act, and he is exactly that, and it's a very nice respite from the rest of the movie. And the third act is bad, eh? Let's just say that you know how we always have to have a sort of fuck up to get us to the fucking third act, and sometimes it's believable and sometimes it's just not.
So forced.
Right,
Yeah.
Forced third act is a very, very common trope nowadays. Forced third act, and then you're like, they wouldn't do that, and they're like, we gotta get to the third act, and you're like, fine, right? And so in the third act of fucking Zombieland, in the middle of no time, fucking Emma Stone takes her sister to an amusement park where the electricity's still running, right? And they get on a right.
Yeah.
So no, I don't believe it. This whole third act is false. It's not Zombieland. Forced third act. Forced third act. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that.
Yeah, but Bill Murray is amazing in it, of course. Saint Bill Murray. Saint William Murray. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen, he's literally in a movie called Saint Vincent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he knows he's got a thing. Okay, so here's the story of my encounter. Once upon a time, I was caught up in the spirit of the flying spaghetti monster, and he had caused that I should be... This person hasn't slept in over 24 hours. And so he's delirious, and Flying Spaghetti Monster is just, driving him by the...
This person has in skits?
Yeah, this guy we're looking at right here.
Cool.
Yeah. this person. This is the Ten Commandments monument that's against the First Amendment. That's been. I did not pee on it, and I did not deface it, but it's been peed on and it's been defaced. So I didn't do that. So anyway, I was walking up to do this, and what should I see? But these 4 Jehovah's Witnesses. I was walking this way. This way, see how it's walking, and then I'm going to walk here and walk this way to where the thing is. And as I was approaching, I saw these guys with their stands, which identifies them as Jehovah's Witnesses, because Mormons don't do that. Mormons don't stand in a place. Also, very rarely do old Mormons do anything.
Yeah.
So, we identified them as Jehovah's Witnesses from very far away. Also, I don't really think that Mormons are into other colored shirts. So, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses are a little bit less boring than Mormons. Blandy, homogenized.
Appearance.
Yeah. And there was a kid, a young man, talking to them. And so I approached them and talked to them. Let's listen. No.
I'm really upset with religion. I'm really upset.
That's bold voice.
Because it's like...
So, okay, we're here.
No, I think it was somebody else.
Okay, so here they are. Here are the Jehovah's Witnesses. I come up and I'm talking to them.
Listen to your conversation again, right?
So I'm listening to them.
Perfectly happy and sent to heaven?
Well, then we would be that way because he made us that.
So I didn't have my camera on because I was going over the thing, and but I talked to the young man a little bit, and I said, "Why the hell are you engaging with these people? What kind of a person are you that goes up to Jehovah's Witnesses and talks to them?" Because I am one of those persons, and it's fun to see another of those persons. And so I gave him my card, and I said that I'd like to talk to him, and so he came over, and I spoke with him, and we will be editing this and putting it up, and it's a fun conversation. He's a very, very interesting young man we met. And so, you know, I missed Jack Black, and, you know, I'm always going to feel sick in my stomach for not being at my post when he walked right fucking by where I definitely would have been. Sick to my stomach, like, yeah, anyway. But, you know, it's nice because this sort of project that we've been working on, sort of, I mean, I shouldn't, you know, I don't want people to know about it until we know what we're doing, right?
Right.
So there's been a lot of experimentation up to now, like, what can we do with this project? What are the limits of it, right? Like, so, and so I wasn't counting my missed opportunities before now. And so this is the real first missed opportunity where I'm like, oh shit, I should have done that. I wanted to have done that. I should have been on the street when Jack Black walked by. And, you know, I knew he was playing at the Red Rocks, you know. And the entire week before, I was thinking to myself, I should really be on the mall right now. What am I doing? Not working. The sun is out. It's beautiful. The people are there. I should just be down there.
Yeah, you said it many times.
Many times I said it out loud. And so, you know, so it's nice that this opportunity really feels like a missed opportunity, because there were missed opportunities before, but they didn't feel like missed opportunities. They felt more like the project's really not ready yet. And so it's nice to know that my subconscious or whatever thinks that this thing that we're doing here is ready, right? It's ready to be seen and examined.
Yes,
right?
we're to the step where we're counting them now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we should have had all those views. So what happened is I talked to this guy, and then I talked a little bit about, and his name is Benjamin, and we'll talk about Benjamin later. It's very, very interesting, and I think he might be with us soon in the comments. If not already, we'll check it out. And then I talked a little bit about this. Talked to a couple people going by. I was very tired and on a script, and I don't think those go very well together, or, especially if I haven't like gone over the script very, very recently. So, it's not great. We'll see if we can edit something about it, but and then we'll go get some more with the script, and because we're getting ready to launch our GoFundMe. I don't remember at the meetings what we were saying, Oh, and I missed a meeting, so I'm in a lot of trouble. So, but anyway, we're working on that, but don't worry about that, because then I was like, you know what would be fun is talking to the Jehovah's Witnesses. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna edit the last go. Well, let's delete this later. We don't have to delete this right now. Or let's delete it and let's call this let's call it Jehovah's Witnesses. Save project file as. Don't look at my file structures or all of these things. Look at all these videos that I make for you guys. Look at all this versus the Catholics touring out. I'm working really, really hard. J-Dubs July 19. That's what we're gonna save it. So let's listen. And during this conversation, we're going to talk we're going to pause it many times, because we're not just editing this. We're also commenting on this is behind the scenes my comments, right? If you like the director's commentary. So then I don't have to put it in the comments of the comment section, right? If you want to see the director's commentary, we just link to episode 20 of season 5 of Radio Show. Go see it. And season 5 Radio Show. Your work is appreciated. I definitely believe that. I thank you, Meridian Heights, for saying that. I agree that my work is appreciated. I get very kind messages from a lot of people. A lot more messages that I actually get on YouTube. Supportive messages, very kind, and I get incredibly kind messages as well. There's like some people who go into detail about how the aspects of it that they find to be cute or entertaining or considerate, and it's I believe that there is an appreciation for it. I definitely think that this strange street act that I do has a large enough audience to make it worth my time financially, and I think it also artistically, even if I'm just, because I can go back if I'm not in the sort of headspace of looking at the mistakes I just made, and it only takes like a month for it to go away, of like looking at me from a month ago being like, yeah, he's just a dummy, like this guy doesn't know everything I know. I've learned so much in this last month. Of course he's going to make mistakes. So if I can get there, I can watch everything I've done, especially in double speed. I can listen to it, I can watch it and think it's funny. The jokes, I think the sort of the thrust of the conversation, where he's pulling the conversation, is interesting. I think the jokes he makes along the way are fun. And so I appreciate it, and I do believe that other people see it as funny as I see it, some other people, and appreciate it. And so, and I also think it's ready. I think the project is ready, that the character is... We can have confidence that the character can be in any situation and come up with fun and entertaining responses. And I was thinking during this last, because when I went down, I was hoping to stay at a friend's house, and that didn't work out. And I was like, well, that's fine. I'll just stay on the mall. I'll see what it's like to just stay on the mall. What happens at the 16th Street Mall at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. See what it's like. And I know now what it's like on the mall at all of those times, like I did not know before. And that's very interesting. And I didn't sleep on the street because I couldn't sleep at all last night. Do, just a thinking of you. Do you know that one? It's from a commercial. That's how I learned about it. Wow. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think it's ready. During my night, I was thinking to myself, why do I do this? Why is there a voice for this? Everybody asks me what the voice is about, and then I'd be like, it's fake, and then they move on like it's fine. And it's like, but is it? Like, am I asking them for a little bit too much right there? So I tried a little bit of just straight voiced Pastafarian, and I think the point is that one's a little bit too aggressive. Like, not like violent aggressive, but I mean, like, there's no sort of wink in the beginning, right? It's very stark.
It's very
like it sounds like this. It's like, hey, you want to talk about God? And it's just so like it's just so blunt, and like, we need to talk about God, you and me. We need to have a conversation about God right now. And like, that's what it sounds like. Instead of like, hello, would you like to talk about my religion? Which is very light, and this is going to be enjoyable for both you and me. Yeah. So straight voiced is like no nonsense business time, and it's like, hey, stop bringing it down, man. So I'm not sure. I might drop the voice. I was thinking about it when I was caught up in the spirit of the flying spaghetti monster. He was showing me visions, and he was saying, you know, you're the one who decided to do the voice. I guess so. So we'll see. We'll see how it evolves over time. But no, that's the thing, is if they're not paying me, I'm not doing the voice, right? If you're right. If anyone's like gonna interview me or anything, and they want me to do it like not as the actor, then they have to pay, right? And the studio's paying for this time. Safe Word Studios, they are paying me with, well, I don't really want to go over our contract, but you know, we will. We'll get all the nitties and the gritties out when we finally find a lawyer. We're going to interview some lawyers, and we'll have to do it all online so that you guys can see, because since you guys are paying for this church with your tithes, we are trying to be a non-profit group, though we need a lawyer before we really do that. We are going to need to be transparent to you because it's your money. So we'll get a lawyer involved in that. We'll get all that set up probably during the winter, because there's fucking nothing else to do in the winter. Maybe we can just do it on phone calls. Maybe we don't even have to meet anybody. Yeah. There was yesterday I was on the mall, like I said, and I went into there were those those kiosks in the middle of the mall that are like, yep. I was like,
they sell like tacos,
right?
Or
I was
ice
like,
cream.
I'd love one of these with like video cameras on it, pointed all ways, and where I could just hand out my literature, right, and have videos going of like Pastafarian brainwashing, and invite people to look at it. Just a information kiosk, but also microphones and cameras so that we could live stream from it 24 hours. Nice. And we could just talk to everybody, and then maybe like a little sort of, little place to crawl up and take a nap inside, during the day hours. And we'll see if we can get that. And so I looked into that, and it's only $300 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you want to, we're gonna be adding that to our Patreon rewards or tiers, things that we can vote for. When we get to $300 a month, we'll put it towards the 16th Street Mall kiosk. That'll be very, very exciting. Yeah. Your work is appreciated. Doing his noodliness is work, says I less than 3 trolling. Meridian Heights says, I propose we saint Fritz Mitch, Skits Mitch. You are sainted unofficially by me. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you, in fact. That's very kind of you. But I appreciate it. And I am also already a saint, because I was a Latter-day Saint. And I still am. They haven't kicked me out, so I'm doubly sainted. Hopefully we can find, hopefully I can join a Louisiana team and be triple sainted. Wouldn't that be rad? Because some of those teams down there are the Saints, right? Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to be triple sainted? Rudong says, I have a feeling people might be more inclined to take you seriously if you're not in character. Yeah, and so, if we're interviewing about it, if a fucking reporter is talking to me about it, I get to drop the accent and be just really blunt and boring and like, why do you do this? And like, why do I do this? Because this fucking world's on fire. Yeah. Because religion is killing this planet. it needs to be done, and you guys are afraid to do it, and be taken seriously. But they're talking to the artist and not the character, and that's and if you want to talk to the character, give me the goddamn money, right? So anyway, yeah, we could do a couple streams because I do the conversation with Lonnie Mathern straight voiced, and I'm working on this one with Carl, my friend, and I'm going to be straight voiced in that because we're just going to be talking about real stuff. But the point is, the character, the voice is everyone being like, you're being mean, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm being a character, right? And so it's my response to the people that are saying that I need to think a little bit more about what I'm doing. My answer is, I'm thinking about everything I'm doing because I'm doing it through a character, through a lens, through a mask. Everything I do is being scrutinized by me. The proof is the voice, right? Whereas if I don't want to think about anything and I'm just going to say what's ever on my mind, this is how it would have to come out, right? Just as without a filter, without any filter, it has to sound like this. But this has got that filter on saying everything I'm saying is being scrutinized by me. So when they're like, you're being careless, you're not nice, blah, 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 you need to is this really the best way? The voice is, yes, yes, I'm deep into my let's do this right idea, right? And so this is the conversation that I got. How much attention will you get that way? I don't know either. Maybe more, because the things that I say in my straight voice have my real emotions behind it, whereas this always is, you're worried I'm making a joke, right? You don't know how seriously to take the character, because he might just be joking, right? He might not really feel this way. But I mean, straight voiced is, why would I say something I don't feel? So yeah, it's maybe you'll get more attention, but it's not as fun.
All I know is you've caused prickles on my neck every time you've switched back and forth.
Oh yeah, is it upsetting?
No,
it's because
I
the
think
demon.
It's the ASMR.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
It's the demon comes into me and then he leaves and then he comes into me and leaves. Is the theory, right? If you're a Christian, you've got to sort of think that theory might be true. And so if you think it's a demon, if you think it might be a demon, if anyone thinks that what's wrong with me might be a demon, you're more than invited to try to exorcise this demon and see if I never talk like this again. Because that's the proof, right? That would be proof. But, proof is too much to ask from these people. Anyway, let's watch this conversation. Mato Fritz just arrived. Welcome. iLesson3 Trolling says, it feels wrong to hear you with your normal voice, like that wasn't your real voice. Yeah, sorry about that. No. It is very, it is very weird, isn't it? And so, yeah, switching feels like a cruel thing to do to people, but I generally do it as my answer to where you're from. I think that might not be a good idea. I think I might undo that, where I never drop the voice when I'm in the costume. Right? So, but anyway, this is a conversation, a 30-minute conversation with Jehovah's Witnesses. And the character sucked me and I like it. Yeah, right? Because it's got to be about because it's a parody. I'm satirizing the street preachers that are taking it too seriously. I'm satirizing not Lonnie Mathern, because he takes it seriously and real. I am doing a little bit of Lonnie Mathern's genuineness, but it's Jesse Morrell and his double down, right? He just doubles down on bad behaviors because they get attention, and so and I can get a lot more attention as a high-voiced British dude, ladies and gentlemen, like way up here, step right up, do not be shy, things like that. I can be louder than in my actual voice, because that one sounds a lot more like I'm yelling at my kids. so yeah, the kid's a better character. I mean, technically, it still is your voice, Maybe it's a demon's voice. Hard to know. It's hard to prove it, but it is. Yeah. It's one of my voices. It's one of these voices in my head. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to say is we're going. This is the commentary track for this this video here. A little bit more setup. Well, let's listen to the conversation before this. So this is the conversation I approach. Let's listen to this.
Are you traveling?
No. So he said, "Are you traveling?" And this is one of the problems with the voice, is that people really like the accent as like an obvious personal question that they could ask to show interest in me, and so people are using it to be flirty and interested. And I give them this really sort of left-handed thing that they don't know what to do with, and so it's maybe discourages them from doing it again. And so you know, there's a plus and a minus to it, but I think the plus is bigger, and I think we can figure out a way to deal with the minus. And I don't think it's dropping the voice. I don't think that's the right answer. I've tried it a lot, but I think I won't be doing it much anymore. So I approach.
He doesn't force that upon us. Hello there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. I'd love to listen to your conversation if you don't.
I'm just going to cut this. I'm just going to put a cut here in case we do want to hold on to this.
How are you?
I'm well. I'd love to listen to your conversation if you don't mind.
Are you traveling?
No. Well, I'm trying to get home. I'm from Bailey, but I'm actually going.
And so that time, instead of dropping my voice, because there were so many people there, I misunderstood his statement. I did it on purpose. I knew that he's talking about the voice, but I sort of said, instead of my long-term sort of situation, I talked about my short-term situation, which was I've decided to get home, and so I misunderstood him intentionally there as the answer to what's up with the voice. And that might not been the best option either. Major Fritz says today is the day, drinking beer day. Good. We've got the very cherry cola, and also we're bonging it all day. Although I think the bong time is over. I think we're lighting the fucking butt of the joint. Yeah.
Oof.
No, she says no. Let's
Protest that Ten Commandments monument right there, because it's on public land and that's against the First Amendment.
Okay. Where do you want to go? Do you want to keep going in free?
So I gave him an answer that it's a wrong answer, but then I quickly talked about something that we can agree on to sort of to keep it light again. Pointed at the Ten Commandments monument and said, "I'm doing something interesting. Let's not worry about where I'm traveling from. Let's talk about the interesting thing I'm doing." And then he went back to talking to the J-Dubs. And this guy's name is Benjamin. We will meet him later, though not today. I'll be doing that video later. Today we're talking about the J-Dubs.
Go church and state.
Well, free will is really a choice God has given us. He didn't
Why
make
did God choose to give us free will?
Because He wants to be served from a true motive, and that should come from the heart.
Why does he want to be served from a true motive?
Because that shows whether we're loyal to Him. He allows us.
Okay. So in this conversation, I've said I want to listen, and then I've sort of barged in and drove the conversation a little bit. So at that point, if I was talking to him alone, I think I've already nailed him on a contradiction, because he's got himself in a circle that switches halfway through. Because why did but I get to be alone with them later, and it's very good. So we don't have to criticize it too much here. This is just background.
If we want to, He doesn't force it upon us. Just like, a machine that's made and programmed to function and do a certain function. it will do what it was made for.
Yeah.
But God allows us a choice to choose whether we want to or not.
Why?
Because He's loving God.
Wouldn't it be more loving if we didn't get a choice and we would all be loyal and we would all be perfectly happy and sent to heaven?
Well, then we would be that way because He made us that way.
That's right. But instead we're this way because He made us this way.
Well, yeah, He allows us to choose whether we want to.
No, He made us choose.
Well, He doesn't make us choose. He doesn't come down and force us to serve Him.
So hear me out on this. Let's all let each other speak, because these conversations go much better when we all listen and speak.
And that's Benjamin, and that's a very good statement. And so I sort of wrap it up and leave him to it, because I think he's going to do a very good job without me, and I can move on to the thing and I can talk about him later. I talk to him later, and he does. Like, I give him his thing,
So
I walk away. Well, before I walk away, I talk some shit, and then I go do my thing, and he shows up.
I have a choice right now to go kill a child, make a child suffer. Why does that child deserve to suffer, or have to suffer, but not necessarily deserve? Because God gave me free will.
Further on, when you mentioned when you first about suffering, we were never in.
Yeah.
So we learn from the Bible why all the suffering goes on. Goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. We also learn that it's going to be put to an end. Right now, that child may die, but that child will have a chance at life again in the resurrection. But then it will be in perfection.
Yeah.
All those battles will not be around anymore.
Have you ever seen a resurrected being?
So I take it on a left turn again. This guy was talking. There are two pairs of Jehovah's Witnesses, and we're talking to the right two guys, and the rightmost guy is very mumbly, and so he does this move a lot where he just sort of talks, sort of mumble nonsense, and so after he did that, he walked us down a path that's stupid, because he was like, it'll be fine because in the resurrection it will be undone, the pain that you caused, and that's why it's okay. And then it's like, cool, but you claim there's a resurrection. Have you ever seen a resurrected being? Like, you have no evidence for the resurrection. And so that's where I'm going. And then around that time I realized I'm not going to be very good at this. If I continue this, I'm going to make Benjamin mad at me, so I better tell him I don't want him to be mad at me.
And they haven't happened yet. Jesus is the only one that's been resurrected so far.
Is that right? What about all the people that walked through Jerusalem? Were they resurrected? So what happened there? Tell me that story.
They're dead right now.
So the dead walked through the city of Jerusalem and everybody saw them, and then they died again? Is that what you're saying?
Found out when Jesus.
Yeah, when he was resurrected and the dead walked through the city of Jerusalem. Were they not resurrected beings?
Yeah, they were resurrected for the time being, but eventually they died again.
So they got unresurrected, is that right?
No, they returned back to the state they were before they were alive.
So they just got momentarily resurrected.
Yes, for the time being. But
Cool.
there's going to be another resurrection where the hope is to live forever right here on earth. Oh, no.
Well, no, my hope is to live in heaven with God. I don't want to live on earth. I want to be one of the 144,000. That's my hope. I don't hope for second place.
And what are you going to do there?
What am I going to do where?
In heaven.
Whatever the hell I want.
Oh, really? That's not what the Bible says.
Well, that's what I'm going to do, because the Bible's wrong about heaven. Hey, you said the garden. What if the garden is just mythology? What if humans have been around for thousands of years longer than the garden?
Well, we trust what the Bible says.
Why?
Because we've read it, we've studied it.
I also have read it and I studied it and I don't trust it. Have you read it and you studied the Quran?
No, I haven't. I've looked at
I implore you to do that. What if it's true? If the Quran's true, would you want to believe it?
If it was true.
Yeah? How are you going to find out if it's true?
Well, I compare it to this for one thing.
Oh, really? How did you find out if that was true?
By reading it.
Cool. And comparing it to
Everything else I've learned.
So you've got a different methodology for the Bible than you do for the Quran. Did you notice that?
I would read it.
Do you know that makes you a hypocrite?
Hey,
Why a hip?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. That was a good one. That was some good conversation you didn't get to hear right there. But basically, yeah. Anyway, we need a switch for the microphone. Sorry, guys. But so I called this guy a hypocrite, and everybody got mad about that word, which is fine. I get that. But I wasn't calling this person names. I was identifying one of his cheats, and that's what we're gonna have to do in conversations. And so in identifying that, I also allowed them to call me a hypocrite. But they never did because I wasn't. So the point is, people come up to me and they say, I saw your sign and it's a good sign. I think you should change it to the word church though, because you'll get better results. And then I have a really hard time saying to them, the results I want are you coming up and talking to me, and you wouldn't have done that if it didn't say cult. So I don't know how to explain that.
That you got what you want by
Yeah,
using that word.
you're talking to me, this is the result I want.
Yeah.
Why do you think I want a result other than you coming up and talking to me? Like, it worked, and you're telling me I did it wrong, and it worked. And you're telling me that if it had said church, you wouldn't have talked to me. So that's the point. And so yeah, that's a bit over the line. That's like my third fuck up in front of Benjamin, of being like a little bit too aggressive when I was really just gonna like see what he was doing. But yeah, so anyway, here's more.
Because he has two different ways of doing it, one way for one and one for the other.
That's where the choice comes in, right? We could.
Yeah,
choose
so he
to
has a
look at-
choice to choose to just believe the Bible and choose to just disbelieve the Quran, and that's his choice, right? And that's a hypocritical choice, ain't it?
Not really.
I said if
No, very really.
I said if the Quran would agree with this.
The Quran's as true as the Bible, I can prove it to you. But I really don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to you. My name is... no, not yet.
Yeah, of course.
Here's my YouTube information. I'm a Pastafarian preacher. Have you heard of the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
Yes, I praise him on Sundays. Mondays.
I've been preaching about him on that street for...
The Pasta Monster?
Yeah, for 3 years.
YouTube?
Yeah, right on there. I look
check
forward
it
to your
out.
comments. You guys are children. You believe in Santa Claus. That is an obscenity right there, and I'm going to go oppose it. I'm going to go be a real man.
We should talk.
Okay, I'll be setting up over here. Take your time with these clowns. You look like a fool in that suit. Do you want to be free, or do you want to be a slave? Were you born to be free, or were you born to be a slave?
Okay, so I told Benjamin, look, it's not about this. I was just having fun with this guys, but I still want to talk to you because what you're doing is interesting. And he's like, we'll talk over there later. And I'm like, cool, yeah, good. And then he comes up in a minute. And so then so there's two pairs, and so while I'm leaving, I'm talking to the other pair, and this is what I'm saying to them. It's pretty aggressive.
I'd rather be a slave to God.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you would. You were not born to be a slave. I can free you and I can free your family. Do you want to be free?
Adam and Eve were born free.
Do you want to be
Look how that
free?
worked out for them.
Do you want to be free? I didn't think so. Do you want to be free? When you do want to be free, let me know. I will free you from this slavery. He won't keep his promises. I can prove it to you whenever you're ready. You believe in Santa Claus, and you look like kids.
So I don't know if I've told you, but I'm one 30-second snot goblin. One of my great grandmothers was a snot goblin. I don't know. It goes back into the archives of my family tree. But that's why I've got to take these allergy pills, and I'm down one. I should be taking 2, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got to talk to my allergist. And so there's the interaction with them in the beginning, right? So and then the next time I go see them, I have the camera running. So that's fun and exciting. And this is where it gets good. And we still have a half an hour of this, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks for sticking around. This might be a long show today. Yeah, let's have a listen.
You guys want to talk? Do you want to talk? Do you want to have a conversation?
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about how you're wrong. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I don't know if I want to hear talk to you about how I'm wrong.
You want to talk about how I'm wrong? You're perfectly fine with that.
You know what? I don't have a judgment on you either.
Yes, you do. Listen to this.
Of course not.
Yes, listen to this.
No, you're free to believe what you want to. I have no problem.
Cool,
with that.
and so are you, but you're also wrong. Do you see how there's a difference?
But the difference is I'm trying to respect your free will to choose, but you're...
Cool, but you're not trying to respect my beliefs, are you? You're not trying to respect my beliefs, are you?
I respect your beliefs.
So what is my belief?
I have no idea.
So then how can you respect it?
Insulting us, I have no idea what you...
I'm not insulting you, I'm insulting your book. Your book, I'm insulting.
It's okay.
What's okay?
I have no problem with you, none whatsoever.
Yes, you do. You have a problem with me.
Not at all.
Why are you lying to me? Is it okay to lie?
Do you want me to have a problem? That's
So the problem that we're going to deal with right now is a little bit of conflation. I Left the Tree Trolling says, I had to pause the stream and now I'm 5 minutes behind. At this point, I'm trying to see how long until I hear you mention this comment. Ha! You tricked me. Don't forget to double speed, eh? Don't forget to double speed to catch up. And you don't have to double speed. There's 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4. I'm not saying you gotta fucking push that lever all the way today. I'm saying that lever goes to 2 right now, and I think that we need to talk to YouTube and be like, shouldn't it go to 2.5, right? So, you know, is it time for this yet, Joe?
Yes.
We're going to light our fucking our blunt here, but let's talk a little bit about the conflation that we're going to do, because the guy that talks the most, who is the guy that is talking, is saying, I don't have a problem with you, and then he's going to be like, you can do whatever you want, but then he's going to be like, we shouldn't do certain things, and so he does have a problem with me because I do things that he thinks we shouldn't do. And so that is a problem with me. And that is a judgment with me. They think that I am wrong like I think that they are wrong. Mm-hmm. And they're pretending that I'm doing something they're not doing. And then when I'm like, really? What is this we're talking about? He conflates it 3 steps away from where he started. And he'll do it a couple times. So his problem with me is I don't believe the Bible. And he's like, no, I don't have a problem with that. And it's like, but you think I'm wrong? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, cool, that's the only thing I'm saying about you. You believe the Bible and you're wrong. And they're like, well, no, we're not wrong. And he's like, cool, let's continue. And so this guy says, I say you have a problem with me. He says I don't, because it's important for him to not have a problem with me. And so he just pretends he doesn't. And it's like, cool, but that's not what you were saying about me. So, yeah, welcome to the conflation gymnastics Olympics.
No, I want you to confess that we have a problem.
I don't have a problem with you, not at all.
No, I have a problem with what you're doing.
You have a problem with me, that's okay.
And you have a problem with me.
No, not at all.
No, you do have a problem.
Not at all.
Why do you think not at all?
It's not my place to judge. We all have free will.
Cool.
Partner.
So
you can do what you want. I have no problem with that.
And you can also do what you want. I've never told you not to do what you want, have I?
Where are you going? You know what? You're all over the place. Pick a subject.
I'm responding to the things that you're saying,
I'm just
friend.
telling you I have no problem with you. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but what do you mean by that? What do you mean by I have no problem with you? Is that like a catchphrase that means nothing?
No.
So what does it mean?
Look, you can do and say whatever you want.
And
That's
so
what I'm
can
saying.
you can,
I
well, no, you
problem.
cannot do and say whatever you want. You cannot yell fire in a public...
We do have laws. We have to
Cool.
Of
And don't break the laws.
course.
Cool. Here's another law. This is a law I follow. You tell me if you follow it. I want to believe things that are true. Do you follow that law? And I want to not believe things that are false. Do you also follow that law?
Unfortunately, that's not necessarily true every time, but that's of course.
But I want
try
to not.
to believe things that are false.
Cool. How old is this planet?
Man, only Jehovah would know that.
No, we can figure it out.
We can.
Yeah?
We can.
How can we figure it out? How can we figure out the age of this planet?
How'd that happen?
Without going to Jehovah, how can we figure out how old this planet is? Do you know? Do you know how we can do it? Any guesses?
Billions of years old.
How many?
Billions of years old.
He's right. It is. How?
It's thousands of millions of years old, but I'm happy that he can say millions instead of thousands. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I give him a point there.
Did you learn that? Were you there?
Through looking, through studying the Bible. And
The Bible says it's millions of years old?
It doesn't give any time length. But
It doesn't? It doesn't give a time length? I thought it gives like a genealogy from the very beginning to now. Doesn't it?
that's for humans.
existence. Not for the Earth.
So you believe that the Earth existed before Adam and Eve?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Cool.
yes.
So you believe that this is an old Earth, and then the God intervened and Adam and Eve, and that was about 6,000 years ago.
We put Adam and Eve on the earth.
Cool. If we find civilizations older than 6,000 years old, would that disprove your book?
No, I have some. Thank you.
If they were true,
Cool. Do you want to go see him with me?
I can't very well travel very far.
Cool. I'll wait. We can go see the pyramids. You know the pyramids are older than the flood. Did you know that?
Well, the flood was.
What year?
Yeah, we'd have to do.
What year was the flood? They don't know. Do you know the year? Do you know the year?
I can stop and figure it out, I guess, if I really wanted to. But
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to?
why would I want to?
So that you can prove that it's true.
So, so here's another thing where I totally ring their bell and they just walk off to the left a little bit. We stagger 2 thoughts to the left right now, because I'm like, yeah, you know that flood, and they're like, yeah, we know the flood. I'm like, you know how it happened in reality and it has a year? What is the number of that year? And they're like, why the fuck would we ever want to know that? And I'm like, so that you could prove it really happened.
Yeah, to prove that
Right.
you're in a real thing.
Right, I think that's a really good answer to their question, and I think that answer was clear and quick, and I think they are reeling from it. So let's listen.
The specific year doesn't matter.
It does matter if you're trying to prove it true.
Who's trying to? You're the one that's trying to prove it.
So he says, so he jumps 2 thoughts. He says, who's trying to prove it true? And so I don't get to respond to that, and the answer is you should be trying to prove it's true. You're claiming it's true, you should be trying to prove it. Because if it's true, the more people who believe it, the better. And if you can prove that the flood happened in the year 3528 BC, and you can go to 3528 BC in every record and see a global flood on 3528 BC, you've proved it. And everyone will believe it. And they're not even trying to. Do you want to know why? Because they don't want to know why.
They don't want to
So they said, no, she said, we're not trying to prove it, you're trying to prove something. And I say, no, I'm not trying to prove something, I'm trying to disprove something.
I'm not trying to prove it.
No, I'm trying to disprove it.
Well,
Are you trying to prove
that's
it?
between you and Jehovah, my
No, it's between me and you.
Yeah, man.
Because nothing is between me and Jehovah. If Jehovah wants a fight, he's got to fight with my God. Okay? And we two people worship different gods, and I'm not talking to Jehovah. I have no relationship with him, just like I shouldn't expect these people to have a relationship with Flying Spaghetti Monster. And they're like, that's between you and Jehovah. And it's like, no, it's between me and you. We are the preachers and the priests of our God, and we are fighting down here on earth for the audience. It is not between me and him, it is between the prophets. You and I are the prophets. So his triangle is missing a character, and he would draw the triangles differently if he wasn't a total hypocrite. He draws a different triangle for him and me. He is the fulcrum, he is the 90 degree, or not the fulcrum, the 90 degree angle, and I am the short, out here, and then the long straight up to his God. And so he should give me that same triangle where a straight up line goes to God and a diagonal goes to him, but instead he gives me a diagonal goes to his God. And so the hypotenuse goes from me to his God in both his triangle and my triangle, and that's wrong. The fucking long end should go. What's the standing long end? The opposite hypotenuse, adjacent, I don't know, Jason. I think it's Jason. So,
He's in the audience. You can ask him.
Jason, yeah, that's right. We try not to use first names though, just in case, because I don't know how anonymous everybody's trying to be when they come into the church here. Because one of our very best benefactors is sort of like in a difficult home situation and is sort of closeted about their disbelief, though not fully, winking at it, but if their disbelief becomes fully understood, the problems get worse. And so, I'm not trying to out anybody, So, no offense if you're like, oh, I hate my YouTube name, don't call me that. No, we're going to, just in case, right? Just to show that we are going to use the name you present, right? If there's something written on your name tag, then that's what I'm going to use to prove around here to everyone that if you just want me to write what's on the name tag, that's what I'll do. That's the normal behavior here. Is I'll refer to you by what you've written, and I also have a name that I would like to change. The Dork Shop is not representative of what we're doing here, and so the One True Cult is, and that redirects there. Oh, we're going to work on that website pretty soon.
Yeah.
There's like these free website things, so we'll be doing that maybe this week, next week.
Yeah, it's time to get our mission statement up. It's time to
Yeah.
get t-shirts up.
Yeah. So opposite hypotenuse. Yeah, Sacagawea. Yeah, that's right. That sounds right. That sounds like 9th grade, 10th grade, something like that.
Have nothing to do with it. That's all Jehovah's Witnesses.
What do you mean you have nothing to do with it? You have nothing to do with what?
Can you take?
You have nothing.
So here is the different guy. So this is the guy that talks the most, and so this guy's going to do this guy's move, which is triple conflation. So he's saying I have nothing to do with it, meaning he has nothing to do with telling me what his God says. Or no. Let's listen to what it is, because he's crazy. Because I'm saying it's between you and me, and he's like, no, it's between you and Jehovah. I have nothing to do with it. And no, it's between him and me.
Well,
Are you trying to prove
That's
it?
between you and Jehovah, Mike.
So trying to prove it is between me and Jehovah. That's what we're talking about. And he's going to triple conflate this thing and pretend that when he says, I have nothing to do with it, yeah, listen to where he lands on it. Because he has nothing to do with it proving or disproving the Bible. Okay? He has nothing to do with proving or disproving the Bible to me right here on the street. My job is to disprove it. His job is to prove it. And let's listen to where he lands.
Oh, it's between me and you.
Yeah, man, I have nothing to do with it. That's all Jehovah's Witnesses.
What do you mean you have nothing to do with it? You have nothing to do with what?
Can you take?
You have nothing to do with what?
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with the written word of God?
To do with the writing of the word.
The writing of the word. You have nothing to do with the writing of the word. I'm understanding you now?
Did I write it? Did I? So that's what it means?
That's what I'm understanding you saying.
Yeah, no, I didn't write the Bible.
Cool.
You want me to confess to not writing the Bible? I didn't write the Bible.
No, but I thought you were saying that you don't have anything to do with it. I thought I was misunderstanding you.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of words you missed there, but that's all right.
Well, I think maybe you stuttered, maybe you revised your sentence on the third one. I have it all recorded, so, we'll be able to see...
that's fine.
Yeah, you do...
So, I wasn't trying to be an asshole there, but he blamed it on me. The miscommunication, he said, well, maybe you didn't listen to me. And I think the problem is I'm listening to you. And so I think that going back to the tape now proves that no, when I was saying it's my job to disprove it and it's your job to prove it, he's like, no, that has nothing to do with me. You want to take this to Jehovah. And I'm like, no, it's between you and me. And he goes, it has nothing to do with me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, I mean... I didn't have anything to do with the writing of the scripture. And it's like, cool, but that's not where we started. And he's like, well, maybe if you had listened, you would realize that's where we started. And it's like, no, maybe if you hadn't triple conflated, we would still be talking about the point that I was trying to talk about, which would have proved your God false. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you hadn't done this very strange tap dance away from logic, we could have landed on some... conversation instead of this weird hand waving you're doing.
Often cast dispersions though, don't you?
Of course.
You do, don't you? So you're judging me though, right?
Not at all.
Not at all? Is that correct? Cool.
You don't judge.
Or maybe you're judging me and you're pretending you're not. Did you ever think about that? Am I a boy or am I a girl?
Man, these days you can't even tell anymore.
No, I can tell. Can you?
I filled out a job application the other day. In the gender, there's a third one.
Cool. Are you just going off on a side right now, a tangent? Cool.
It's the way the world is right now, brother.
Cool. Am I a boy or a girl?
You tell me.
That's correct. That's a really good answer. But I bet you're judging me and you've judged me to be a boy or a girl.
No.
Well, if you haven't, you're kind of not too smart. Do you agree?
I judge you as a human being. That's it. I give you the same respect and dignity I would give any other...
How tall am I?
What, 6'2"?
Fucking finally, they fucking confess. Yes, I do judge you. I judge how tall you are. I judge your gender. I judge where you're from your accent. Like, holy shit, this is a fucking weird fucking word for these guys. We don't judge you. It's like, yeah, you do. And they're like, I judge you the same as I judge anyone. And it's like, right, so a little, right? Like, you judge them. And so I don't know why well, I know why, because there's some weird verse that they traipse out a lot and be like, we don't judge, see? And like, okay, but you do. So what is the point of the poetry? Yeah, sorry, I muted, Joe was talking afterwards, but yeah, they've redefined the word.
They've redefined the word, and yeah, they're just protecting.
Right, and it's a keyword, and so I have to be using their keywords, and I'm like, no, I'm using the word judge, like make a judgment about, like just judge the weight or the height, or hone in on a sort of specific you know, like you seem to be a human to me because of what you look like. You know, like cool, that's a judgment. No, we don't do judgments. Okay. I mean, you judge me to be wrong about the Bible. It's like, right, but we're not judging you. Like, I don't see how that's possible.
You just judged me, do you agree?
No.
Cool.
I did not.
So we have a different definition of judgment, I think. Why don't we go with your definition? You tell me what judgment means, and I'll stop using my definition, and for this conversation we'll use yours. What does judgment mean? When you say you're not judging me, what does that word mean?
Am I holding something against you that you are somehow less than I am?
Cool, that's not what I mean by judge, but that's what we'll use. That's what we'll use. So no. You're not judging me and I am judging you because you are less than me. Do you know how you're less than me?
I have no clue. I'm a human like you.
I haven't said it clearly enough? I haven't told you why I believe you're less than me?
Because we're wrong.
Because you're wrong. So if you were wrong, would I be correct in judging you less than me?
I think the answer to this is yes. If let's say that there's an idea A, okay, and the idea could be fucking. Meridian says, I should have made some popcorn before the stream. This is great. Oh, great. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I was having a very, very pleasant time while I was doing it, and I really thought that I wasn't getting good stuff, you know, out on the street. Like, I was so exhausted at this point. I was so fucking delirious and tired. And I make some really bad decisions in my life when I'm sort of in delirious statements. It makes me feel very Mormon again. This sort of can do no wrong sort of mania that I get into. Like I have sort of not bipolar, but you know, mood swings, mania. What's the other one? Depression, manic depressive. And Mormonism really, really exacerbated it, and now it's chill because, you know, I like I like my life, and so it doesn't get bad. But it was bad when I was a teenager and a Mormon and on the mission. It was pretty bad, the manic depression that I had, and so staying up all night sort of exacerbates it. You know, like the best jokes in the world are told at like 6 a.m. You know, and can never be retold again, right? It's like you had to be there, and it's like, no, you were delirious, and like, oh, that's right. And so it's very pleasant for me, and so I'm having a good time here, but I'm expecting that all of this is garbage because I'm not in a very clear state of mind, and I'm not high. I hadn't had any weed because I was just sort of still preaching on the mall. Like, there's nowhere to go to smoke, and I didn't have any with me, and so I was just total fucked, just totally sober, except for how tired I was. Yeah, I'm glad you're appreciating it, and you know, if it's no fun, you know, we'll see you tomorrow. We're streaming tomorrow. It's 1:38 or 12:38 here, so we're definitely in overtime, and this is not required reading. This is just the commentary track for this encounter, this video that we're about to post of this encounter with these Jehovah's Witnesses. So we are editing it. Do let us. What do you think? Should I put that? Should I put the preamble stuff in there? Should I put them talking, me talking to them with Benjamin, or should I just start it with the video, because I don't know what like will capture the audience better. Do we give a shit? This thing is 30 minutes long, so I don't think we need to care about setting those hooks. This isn't one of the videos that we're going to like be teasing people. I do have another video that I made called mission statement, and so the thought about this video is if we had like $10 of internet money, we'd put it to advertising this, because within the first 5 seconds, which is what they can skip, after that they can skip it, within the first 5 seconds I say, would you like to join my cult, which is one of my very strong hooks, and then it's 1 minute video of really just sort of question answered, information given, just my normal spiel on the street, not too personalized to the people that talk to me, although they do ask a really good question. They ask how big our subscribers is, and so I'm able to plug that subscriber goal, and so, you know, have a look at that. That sort of, and there's no edits, right? So it looks really good as far as like, oh shit, this guy's just really on the street. This is not, it looks like Lonnie Mathern. I mean, Lonnie Mathern does edits, but like, it looks like, oh, this is just a camera picking up something happening in the street, instead of, oh, this is a YouTube video and this was edited for my benefit, right? Anyway, what were we just talking about with these homies?
You're wrong.
Okay, so
if you were wrong, would I be correct in judging you less than me?
okay, so I think that's correct. So thought A is a math thought, right? And let's call it the, I don't know, the law of similarity, law of congruence, or whatever, just something, right? And if I knew, or the law of gravity, okay, and I knew the law of gravity and you didn't know the law of gravity, or heliocentricity, eh? Mm-hmm. I know the fucking sun's in the middle, you know that you think that you know that the earth is in the middle.
Yep.
I'm a round earther, you're the flat earther. If one of us is right and one of us is wrong, then the right person can judge the wrong person to be wrong, and can hold it against them, is my claim. I can hold it against you that you're wrong. Mm-hmm. So I asked them, can I judge you if you're wrong? And they're like, no. Okay.
No.
So a right person and a wrong person, they can't, so a right person cannot judge a wrong person. That's what you're saying?
We're all human beings. We all have our own perspectives. We all have our own experiences.
But some of us know more.
Human being, if they have different experiences.
When you say we can't, you mean we shouldn't?
Of course, I mean we should.
Cool.
Everybody can do whatever they want.
Cool.
Judge. You know, a person can judge you, but
and by judge you mean hold the things that I think are deficient in you against you.
yes.
And you think that I shouldn't do that to you?
We don't do it to you.
Okay, I will try not to do that to you. Okay, here are the things.
Okay, now he says we don't do that to you, and I'm not sure that I believe him. I'm not sure that I believed it in the moment. But you know, so we couldn't talk about that. But I think I'd rather not, because the point is, you, in conversations like this, you get to choose what you're talking about. So you know, it really is your personality that's coming out in it. And you know, if you want to fight, there's things to fight about, and if you want to not fight, there's things to not fight about. And so don't worry, just make your decisions of what you're talking about. There's lots to talk to these people about, especially if there's 4 minds right there, and I'm the one driving the conversation. And so I could have gone there. We could have gone down that road, but it's sort of not. You know, I'd already seen how they fight, and it's really sort of cheaty. Is like jab and then roll away and pretend they didn't jab, which is what he did right there. Because he says, we don't judge you. And I'm saying, yes, you do. You think that I'm wrong. And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, cool. And that causes you to behave certain ways towards me. And they're like, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, It does, and you pretend it doesn't. Right. And that's, I've already said the entire argument right in front of them. They've seen all of my points. They've seen all of them. And they just haven't connected that I've already said this. And so, you know, I can sit on it and do it again, but, you know, I don't have to. Meridian Heights says, check the comments on that one. Seriously, something happened this morning. The mission statement video. On the mission statement video is down, is that right? I will check that. I'll check that after that stream. We'll clean that up. But yeah, so it's not really a big a deal yet. It just sort of is like, because we have another one.
Idea and first draft.
Yeah, and the other sort of thing that we were trying to do that was like that we pushed a little bit. We put like $5 in, $10 of advertisement. Is like how to double speed the video. So that was probably a year and a half ago since we've tried that sort of project.
Yeah.
So this is another one, but really sort of vanilla, really scrubbed down, not very. It's very rough cut, so, and maybe we'll smooth it up a bit. Maybe because you know it doesn't have the intro on it, the Whore of Babylon's intro, and so we did that on purpose because it's like we want to get to the hit before the 5-second mark,
Right.
And maybe we should have put it at the end. I don't know. We'll think about it. I think we can put it at the end still with the tools that YouTube has.
That's cool.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
We don't do it to you.
Okay, I will try not to do that to you. Okay, here are the things that you're wrong about. Adam and Eve is mythology, the flood is mythology, the Tower of Babel is mythology. Did you know that Moses is mythology? Have you ever heard that? Did you know that he never lived? Did anybody ever tell you that? Has anybody ever, I'm curious, because I didn't find out about that until I was well out of Christianity. I really thought Moses was real. Has anyone ever let you know that Moses is mythology? Have you ever heard that?
No.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Cool, thank you.
So I'm giving a list. I'm in the middle of my statement, and in the middle of my statement, I ask an aside. I'm like, "Have you heard that?" Because I was really surprised when I learned it, and so I just sort of say that on the way there. But I'm still in the middle of a sentence, and the sentence is, "This is what you're wrong about. How do I not hold that against you?" And so it's kind of them to answer my question in the middle of a question because it's like, where am I going with this? And they don't know, and they're trusting me that I'm landing somewhere, and I definitely do. You know, like I finished this statement.
So these are the things that you're deficient in, but I'm not going to hold them against you, okay? How can I do that? How shall I do that? Because I know you're wrong, but I'm trying not to hold it against you so that we can continue this conversation, because I very much am a good faith conversationalist in this conversation, and I would like to hear your opinions on these things.
So how would I not hold it against a flat earther? If a person comes up to me and says the earth is flat, I'm like, I know you're wrong, and I can show it to you and I can prove it to you, and they're like, excuse me, don't judge me. How do I do that? How? Like, what are you asking, and how would I even enable that sort of behavior? What sort of things would I have to be thinking in my head? Would I have to think, okay, now remember, they're dumb. Don't be mad because they're dumb. Like, how? Like, what? What should I do? How do I do it? What is the thing that I do so I don't hold this against you? Because I don't believe that you do that for me.
So, can I just keep talking to you and that would be not holding it against you, or do I have to, like, not think you're wrong?
If you want to know what we think, just ask us what we think.
So that has nothing to do with what I'm saying, okay? Because I know what they think. They think the flood is real. They think Adam and Eve are real. They think that fucking Moses is real. I know what they think, and I know they're wrong. I want to know what you think, just ask us. As if that has anything to do with anything. And instead of, cool, you've made your points, let's move on. Why don't you ask us what we think? Which is what that statement is. If he wants to drive this conversation somewhere else, he can. But he oughtn't mask it as he's talking about what I'm talking about. Because what I'm talking about is, how are you capable of doing the thing you're claiming to do?
Right.
How are you doing this? What are the actions involved in saying that this is a thing that's possible or true? NA arrived. I've missed so much. I really miss you, Father. Uh-oh. I really missed you, Father. Sad face. Well, you know, you can watch it all. It's hour and 49 minutes we've been streaming today. But don't worry, we've got an hour left. There's a lot to talk about still, and it's going to go up on the internet. We only did like 3 or 4 songs. The chances of it getting blocked are low, and then we'll delete the music so that it's or whatever. So this guy says a total non sequitur. If you want to know what we think, just ask us.
If you want to say what you believe, say what you believe. If they don't
Cool.
match up, if they conflict, that's a difference of opinion.
Cool. And if there is a difference of opinion between like a truth claim, say whether the flood was global or local, because I don't believe it's local, but let's pretend I do, and I don't know what you believe. I assume you believe it's local, and let's just go with that as or global. My apologies. And I don't want you to tell me what it is yet. Let's just go with that as like a thing. So let's pretend you think the flood is global and local, and let's say that it's one of those 2 options, and some of us are right and some are wrong. How would we go about finding who is right, and is it worth our time to have all 5 of us believing the things that's right? Is that worth our time? How would we do it, and is it worth it?
Well, the only thing that I know of that tells us about the flood is in the Bible.
Okay.
You ever seen that? We believe what the Bible says, written by God.
Why do you? Okay.
So therefore, God, and by Bible chronology, we know when the flood happened.
Okay.
We know when Moses.
Cool. And so.
Okay, so this is fucking Ramble Mumbles, right? And I don't have it on camera, like I did it really subtle so that they are still talking to me. They have not shut up in front of the camera, which is a difficult trick to pull off. All right, I did it really slow and subtle, and I mean, you can see how I'm doing it. It's on me for a minute, it's on them for a minute, but and I point at my audio eventually and be like, I'm recording the audio too, and so. And as soon as they're like, we've got to go, and they look at their watches, I make motions and I turned my camera off, and so that's gonna happen at the end. And so, as far as like putting a camera on people in public and making them act the way they were behaving before the camera was on, very, very difficult trick. And I don't know how to do it, but I think that I did it here. I think this is a good representation of these dudes. On camera, but I think that Mumbles is happy to not be on camera. But what he's doing here, his move right here is to preach 4 things in a row, okay, and not let me address the first one and pretend that he confounded me. All right, and so here's Mumbles lecturing me, and this shouldn't have been a lecture. He should fucking let me converse, and he won't. I'm trying to interject over and over and over, and he moves to another thought, another thought, another thought, another thought. As if that's what I'm doing. It's not. I'm reacting to and saying, that thing you're saying sets up this contradiction. Do you agree? And then they go, here's another thing I'm saying. I'm like, that thing you're saying sets up this contradiction. And he thinks that I'm lecturing them, and I'm not. I'm saying, look, you believe a lot of wrong stuff. How do I treat you as an equal? Okay? How do I not treat you as fools?
Yes.
If I believe a lot of wrong stuff, don't you think that I'm a fool? And they're like, well, we know we don't. And I was like, you're trying not to, or you do it and you pretend you're not? Like, what do you mean? And then, and this guy's, the only way I know of how to get out of a conflict of understanding is to go to the Bible. And then he just talks and talks and talks and talks. And fuck.
And so you take it as truth because it's written in the Bible. And my question to you is...
Also, another thing, now that I get to fucking talk about this guy, and another thing, he says we know when Moses lived, and I proved you don't. Or did I already? Is that coming up? You don't know. What year did Moses live? I don't know. And it's like, how can you say we know when you don't know? Like, what is this we? And it's like, well, I mean, it's possible to find out. We just never have. And it's like, right, but it's possible to find out if we can go to the moon. You just never have. It's the same thing of like, we know we can go to the moon, but the Bible says we can't, so we just don't.
Okay.
We know when Moses lived.
Cool. And so you take it as truth because it's written in the Bible. And my question to you is, when did you determine that the Bible contained only truth? How old were you? That's a great ovation you got there. That's a great guitar, my friend. How old
All right, and so I want to talk a little bit about passers-by, because this conversation was interrupted 3 or 4 times. It was interrupted by people who tried to sort of drown me out. They didn't try to talk to because I'm only ever talking to like 2 of these people, and these other people, like, they drop the conversation as soon as they want to. They pass me back and forth and pretend that they're all talking for Jesus, and it's like, no, you guys are different people, and you're quitting on this conversation when it's too much for you, you know, and you're having conversations about me in front of me, and you're being very rude. And so there's 2 people not talking to me at all the times, and a lot of times, sometimes people come up and talk to them, and you know, don't interrupt the conversation. But other times people are coming up to interrupt the conversation because they're defending the Jehovah's Witnesses against the Pastafarian. And if you find that you're defending the Jehovah's Witnesses, or the Catholics, or the Westboro Baptist Church against the Pastafarian, you've missed one of the steps here. You've really missed a trick. Like, you need to just step back and be like, what is happening right now in front of me? What is going on? Who is talking the truth, and who do I agree with? Because the people who do it generally leave us pretty fucking quick, because I don't know why they think that they can save this guy and walk on like they've done a good deed. But that was one of them. Someone's just coming up and making lots of noise and trying to disrupt the conversation. I don't know whether it's just because they're talking shit to the J-dubs and they don't notice me, or whether they're trying to get the Pastafarian to stop picking on the J-dubs because he looks like he's winning. But don't defend the Jehovah's Witnesses against the Pastafarians. I know what I'm doing. Can you please let me do? Yeah. And I'm not saying this to Benjamin. Benjamin was doing a great job just as a hobbyist street preacher. I'm talking about, or a street epistemologist, my apologies. But yeah, there's just this guy walking by. He had a guitar on his back, and it was an Ovation guitar, so I was trying to tell him that I see you, move along, please.
When you decided that the Bible was inerrant?
What am I now? 70... I was 47, 48 years old.
Cool. How did you determine that it was inerrant? What happened that made you realize it?
Having lived life and seen things, and when I was in college, I was a Catholic when I went to college.
Cool.
But I broke away from that because when the draft board said we won't give you a religious deferment because your church is blessing the killing, Vietnam War.
I think religious deferment is a really good idea.
And
I would not.
I started looking at other things, including a little bit the Quran and that, and other things. For a long time, nothing made sense. I never really looked at the Bible.
All right, now this thing that he's going into is his testimony, and I asked him what event happened at 47, 48 that caused him, and instead he bore his testimony. Well, I blah blah blah, and when I was a kid, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, I literally asked you what event happened that made you think that the Bible is true. And I said, when did you do that? And he said 47, 48. And I said, what happened that made that possible? Like, what happened? And he's like, let me tell you my life story. When I was in college, and I was like, oh shit, that's bad. And listen to me being really nice to him for no fucking reason. Why the fuck would I listen to this fucking garbage?
I was a long-haired hippie.
I am also a long-haired hippie, yeah. You smoke weed?
I used to.
Cool.
I smoked it until 22 years ago, until I started studying.
Cool.
And,
yeah, look, I've got the long hair and the weed as well. And I'm not quite at the age that you say that you woke up. But what was the event that sort of made you think to yourself, I know now that this book is inerrant. How did you know? Do you believe in the Holy Ghost? Did you feel it?
So, I asked the question again, but I don't let him answer because he already said I'm not going to answer this question. I'm going to use it as an excuse to preach. And I was like, cool, let me drive your answer then. Let me lead the witness a little. Let's talk about the Holy Ghost. You know because of the Holy Ghost, don't you? That's how you know. You know the Bible's true because of the Holy Ghost. There's no other way, right? And so instead of letting them fucking finally fall on it, just be like, hey, you know, I've read your books and you say you believe the Bible because of the Holy Ghost. Is that right? And they're like, no, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, cool, let's do that. Because no, science disproves the Bible. And the only reason you believe it is because of the Holy Ghost. Let's fucking do it.
The Holy Spirit.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit. I don't mean to use wrong phrases.
We believe in the Holy Spirit.
Do you believe that the Holy Spirit confirms that the Bible is true?
Yes.
And that's how we can know, or
It was written by Holy Spirit, God's inspiration.
do you feel that?
He's using the word by there in a way that word doesn't work. It was written by a man. That's how the word by works. It was written under the influence of the Holy Spirit, not by. You cannot say that fucking all of Hemingway's work were written by alcohol. You can only say they were written under the influence of alcohol. You cannot say that everything Seth Rogen has ever done was done by weed. You can only say it was done under the influence of weed. It's stupid fucking conflation right there, and it's literally of the word by. B-Y. It depends what you mean by by. This fucking guy right here.
Holy Spirit in you?
Yeah,
Okay,
we can feel it.
so you recognize the feeling of the Holy Spirit. What if the Holy Spirit told you that the Bible's false? What would you do then? You prayed to the Creator, however you describe Him, and you say, Creator, I've been looking through this Bible and I think that it's definitely true, but I think it might also be definitely false. And what if the Holy Ghost told you that you were right? What would you do then?
Well, I would have to think seriously because it would go contrary to what I've already been led to believe.
Right.
Exactly.
Right, and that's why I had to give up the Bible, is because I asked if Paul was a liar, and he definitely was, and I felt the Holy Spirit. Will you go and will you look into what Paul did, and will you ask again the Creator if Paul lied whenever he wanted to?
No, because we don't have that. We don't.
So, I was a Mormon missionary, and there was a tool that we used in the Mormon missionary, a quote-unquote tool. There was a pattern, we called it the commitment pattern, and it's sort of 5 steps, and one of the steps is ask a will you question. The first step is prepare them to feel the Holy Ghost, and we can talk about it later, it's kind of boring. But I didn't intentionally, but I recognize that I definitely have used the entire commitment pattern on this guy. And it ended when I said, will you do this? And his hard no on that is the hypocrisy, right? So if he's followed everything I've said and he's seeing what we're talking about, he should not be able to hard no that will you, because his intellectual integrity sees the contradiction. And so maybe I didn't illustrate the contradiction enough, but because I think what it is he's dogmatic enough to ignore contradictions when they arrive because he's been told to. And so I think that this is an example of the problem with his brain. I think, and so I feel like that hard no right there is like a check, like got him, next one, right? And so whenever they do that, move on. It doesn't matter, right? You got a point, go score a different goal, right? This is how to be me, everybody.
Don't have that
So maybe
understanding about the Bible. We feel it's God's word.
You feel it's God's word.
Instructing us.
Right.
And
right.
We can tell by reading it and applying its counsel that it's beneficial for all things.
Okay. This argument that you've given to me,
and the argument is this: we feel it's true, and when we apply its principles, we can see that it is good for all. Okay? That's his argument.
I've heard many times before. I haven't just heard it from you. I've heard it from Muslims. I've heard it from Mormons. What makes, when you say it, different from when a Muslim says it? Because the Muslim will say, I've studied the Quran, it's perfect, no one can write a perfect verse of the Quran, it's obviously from Allah. When I apply its principles to my life, my life gets better and I feel the feelings of our Creator. How can I refute him?
Faith is a very strong thing, no matter what you believe.
So, I made a really good point, and Mumble Jumbles says faith is a really strong thing no matter what you believe. And so he confesses right there, the Muslims are wrong and they're doing bad things with faith. That's his accusation right there. He's like, look, the Muslims believe it because faith allows you to do these things. And it's like, so faith allows you to do wrong things. Mm-hmm. Cool. That's a great confession, Mumble Jumbles.
Believe it strongly enough.
So if I believe wrong things strongly enough,
It can.
the Quran, and maybe if you believe the Bible strongly enough, even though it's fake, you'll also get the same results as they get with the Quran? Is that what you mean?
But you're saying something that we don't believe.
Right.
Right, like when I'm talking about how the Quran is false, I'm saying something they don't believe, and they don't want me to say it, even though we both agree it's so fucking true. So, like, they just don't see it.
We do support
Right.
what the Bible is saying.
Right. But I'm saying something that I do believe. Right?
That's your choice.
Right. My choice to believe? Do you think so? Do you think we choose what we believe?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mormons also say that. They say belief is a choice, and I don't know if I think belief is what we must do given the experiences on our mind. I think that we don't choose what we believe, we just believe what we must based on our experiences. And I'm not trying to change your mind on that. I'm just trying.
So, yeah, I talk about how, like, cool, we believe a different thing about that. You're not going to change your mind, I'm not going to change your mind. This isn't what the conversation's about. But, like, that's the whole point of, like, no, you don't just choose to believe something. You have to believe it because of what you've seen. Like, that's the whole point, is when they're like, look, they saw God and he was risen. And it's like, cool. And so, would you choose not to believe it? Could you choose not to believe Jesus if you had seen him? After he was dead and he showed you the things, could you then just choose not to believe it? Because I think the answer is no, you couldn't. No, it would take a lot of work. You would have to convince yourself not to believe it. You would have to, you could choose to convince yourself, but like, you know, like that take a lot of work, and I don't think it's even possible. You could choose to try to convince yourself is what you could do, and I don't think it would work. Because you'd be like, well, but I did see him, right? And so that's the whole point of, like, they can say all you want. No, Paul wasn't a liar, and it's like, cool, but I felt the Holy Spirit after prayer, so now what? Mm-hmm. You know, like, what are you going to do? I can't choose to not have had that happen, right? Mm-hmm. I have to believe that happened. And then I have to figure out what that means. And so I disagree with them here, because I think if you pray and you say, did Paul lie, and you feel the Holy Ghost, you don't get to choose what that means, right? You don't get to choose what you believe after that. So go try it. And he said, no, okay.
I don't think we agree on this point. I don't think belief is a choice, but I don't think that that's important to this conversation. Okay, this is the important question, and there's an if in it, and a lot of people don't care about this if, and if you guys don't hear it, that's fine, a lot of people don't.
And so that's a kind of fucked up move, but, you know, they were allowing me a lot of space there, because there was a moment, and they let me take another turn, and they were waiting for what I was about to say, and it's like, oh, cool, you guys are fucked then. Mm-hmm. And so I dared them not to fucking do what everybody else does. And, you know, a lot of people love to take dares in the streets. You know, if you predict something in the future, people just love to, like, say that it's not true. It has to do with that, with the Baron's chat. If you say in the Baron's chat, where is Mancrick's wife, you're going to get a lot of jokes and a lot of people telling you you're stupid.
And go Google it.
Go Google it, and they're calling you a moron. But if you say, where is Mancrick's wife, and someone else says, it's north of the crossroads, northwest, up at the top of the mountain. People will be like, oh no it isn't, she's south of the fucking thing, and that guy's a fucking liar.
He's so dumb.
Yeah, so it's like, it's kind of like a manipulation. But, yeah, they both have to look like they're in good faith as well, just being wrong. Not trying to fucking troll them or anything, just fucking being wrong. And so, you know, I dare them to listen to me, because I'm like, normal people can't hear it, but maybe you can, but I doubt it. And they're like, oh, we definitely can. It's like, You can because I just told you to. You know what I mean? Like, is that fucked up? Is that cheating?
If it's false, will you give it up?
If it's false?
If it's false. If you find it's false, will you quit?
What I see, through the years I've read the Bible, the only way I can see the Bible being false is if there is no God. That is the only way I see the Bible being false.
What do you mean by...
If there is no God, if atheism is true. If that is true, if you believe in atheism and that to be correct, that is the only way I see the Bible not being true.
Okay.
And if that is true...
What a confession, right? What a confession. He's saying, listen, I'm still a Jehovah's Witness because I'm afraid to be an atheist. And so my answer is, you don't need to be afraid to be an atheist. You know, this whole thing of like, we're going to die, this world's going to burn, which is eventually what we sort of land on in this, is like, yeah, maybe. You know, like, yeah. Fucking people are so stupid. And he's like, no, but it has to work. And it's like, no, that's where you're wrong. It doesn't have to. We can commit suicide. It doesn't have to work. There is an option for failure here. And, you know, it makes it scary. Yeah, I agree. But it doesn't, it's not scary enough that we should pretend Santa Claus exists, right? That is more dangerous.
Yes.
So he's choosing, because of a frightening reality, he's choosing a dangerous mythology. And he knows it. He says, the only way that this isn't true is if there's no God. And I'm like, well, I think you've got an answer to your prayer. You know, like, you know, you see the alternative and you deny it because it makes you feel bad. And, you know, I don't find that to be a very adult decision. And that's all. That's all I'm saying. I think he would dress differently if he wasn't commanded to dress like this. And I think that I'd rather see him dressed how he would.
Yeah.
There's no point in living because I don't see humans making the world any better.
Cool. Have you read Descartes?
I have not. I've heard of it.
Okay. Descartes talks about the thing that you're talking about, and there are some answers to that, and I like the way...
Alright, well, I got a comment about this, even though I already put those titles in. I say Descartes when I mean Sartre, right? Is that right? Because Sartre is like, look, why not go kill yourself, right? If there's no God and there's no objective purpose to life, then, you know, because the nihilists are like, oh shit, there's no meaning. There's no meaning to this. And it's like, it feels like there's meaning, there's subjective meaning, so fucking go out there and enjoy it. Like, the argument to nihilism is as simple and you know, middle school as nihilism. Of like, no objective meaning, nobody cares, no rules. It's like, no, not no rules. I have rules, internal rules, of like, don't smear shit over my face, right? It's gross. And it's like, that's a meaning. It means that I don't like shit on my face. You know what I mean? Like, no objective! And it's like, what the fuck is the difference between objective and subjective? Like, who cares? Why on earth would that be so important that you think that, you know how it feels like there's meaning? It turns out there's none. And it's like, okay, let's say then that it feels like there's meaning. Can we go from there and just pretend you didn't do some weird poetry? It feels like there's meaning. Isn't that good enough? And so that, you know, they're middle school ideas, and I'm not calling this guy a middle school guy. That's the thing, is like, I called them dopes to their face, and I'm pointing out their hypocrisy, but you know, I mean, they're the culted, you know? And this guy's like, I'm afraid of the alternative. I'm afraid that the Bible's not true. And it's like, okay, you should be afraid. You should be afraid that people believe the Bible even though it's not true. That's more fearsome than we're not going to be able to figure out this global warming thing, right? And because although that's fucking sad and I lament it in the streets, yeah, it's an option, right? Yeah. You know, that's sad. Maybe many people are going to starve and drown and die. And we should really get our shit together. And we're not going to. Well, yeah, let's listen to this guy, because he's like, if the only option is atheism, I can't.
you're coming with, because you did hear my if it's not true, then that. But also there's a third option. There could be a God that is not involved, right? There could be a creator that does not have anything to do with us, but maybe he doesn't even care about us. Maybe he created us to live alone. And so, and I'm not saying that that's what I think it is, because I think, given my experiences, I think that first thing you said, I think there is no God. But I'm not trying to get you guys to think that. But I am just trying to say there's third options.
I'm not saying if you could tell me there is no God, am I going to say you're absolutely wrong? I'm a human being.
Right.
I have limited understanding.
Right.
And if you from everything I've seen in my life, I don't see how that could be. I could be wrong.
Cool.
But I'm saying that is the only other possibility I see, is
Excellent.
that there is no God. Either the Bible's right or there's no God. One of those two.
Excellent. I think you're right about that. I think that's a very good major and minor thought to hold on to. I like that a lot. I think you're going to do fine.
But the issue with that is, if there is no God, or even like you said, if there is a God that doesn't care,
right?
That means we have to rely on ourselves.
Yes. If we have to rely on ourselves, do you think we can save this planet from the climate change?
Not in any way. Humans are too greedy.
I think you're right.
Corporations are too greedy. There's too much love for money, and they don't care.
I think you're right.
Humans don't care.
I think you're right.
So, yeah, and so I think that this is an important moment in this conversation, that we agree on this point. Sort of, I'm not throwing it in his face and saying, like, and it's kind of your fault, but it is religiously enabled. Mm-hmm. This thing that we're both lamenting, humans' ability to just be so incredibly apathetic. These guys use religion to be apathetic. So I'm not trying to be mean here, because I didn't say it to his face, but this is the point: is what's taking us so long? People just allow themselves to believe mythology and pretend we're not doing what exactly we are doing, and he's furthering the agenda. Like, he is adding to religion is on this world.
But could we do the moonshot? Even with all these faults and these foibles, do you think that our love, imperfect as it is, can care enough to change it at the last minute?
Unless if we come up with a way to where we are teetering on the edge, do this or we go off, and we're getting to that point and we're still not turning.
So he alluded to a sort of point. He's like, this is the only way I see that. And then we both realized, and that's what we've been seeing for the past decades, the past few decades. Unless we're teetering on the edge and everyone's telling us now is the time to decide right now. And, yeah, that's where we've been. So, and then Mumble Jumbles is going to say something, I think, as well.
I feel like these scientists have been saying that since before I was born. I think I heard Carl Sagan say that in 1977, so I'm very worried about that.
I don't see how humans can save themselves.
Cool.
Everybody would have to change their mind at the same time.
Yeah.
So he said everybody would have to change their minds at the same time, and I think that is the point. Because my argument, so Mumble Jumbles is just like, in order to save the world, we'd have to, everyone would have to change their mind at the same time in order to avoid the catastrophe. And I think the point is that right, and that's why I'm out here trying to change your guys' mind. Because God's not going to save us. He's going to let us burn it. They're God. Mm-hmm. The only way that we can stop this from burning is if we all change our minds at the same time and say, Jehovah's not allowed to burn it. We're going to change the story. But I just think they're the ones that have to change their mind. They think that they are not the fucking perpetuating the unability, but they are. Like, Jehovah's Witnesses are unsustainable. Mm-hmm. They sacrifice their children God of homophobia. They sacrifice their gay kids. That's an unsustainable.
Yeah, they protect their sexual abusers.
Right. They protect the abusers. Yeah. They move them in the guise of.
They're very harmful to their youth.
Right, and this is some 1900 stuff. It should be gone. Mm-hmm. So But here's the cool thing about that equation is they're like everyone would have to change their minds at once, and they're picturing people like them out there, and they're picturing how many people they'd have to change their minds. But here's how it works: it takes, let's say, X amount of time to change a mind. Okay, so I change your mind. Okay, and it took me a year. Okay. But then you can go change a mind, and I'll go change a mind, and after 2 years, instead of one person and then 2 people, it'll be 4 people. Okay? And then those 4 people can go change 4 minds, and it takes a year. And so that line is a lot steeper than you think it is.
It's going to go much faster than you think.
Right, right. And that same line, when you're talking about like rice on a chessboard, have you heard about that one?
No.
So if you take that same line and you like, across the top I put 1 grain of rice in the first thing, I put 2 in the second, I put 4 in the third, 8, 16, 32, 64. That's the top row. What am I going to put in the last one? How many am I going to put?
Damn. Huge.
Yeah, huge.
Billions, maybe.
I think it's trillions. I think it's further out than fucking.
So quickly off of those.
Yeah, it might be more than trillions. It might be quadrillions. It might be quintillions. It might be a nonsense number, like more than there are molecules in our galaxy. And it's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And so that number gets really weird really quick. And so maybe it doesn't take a year to change minds. Because in 64 years we can get it done if we're all taking a year to change minds. So they think no, because it's just too much work to change all these minds, and they're wrong about how much work it is. Especially because look, I might have changed their minds and I recorded it, and people can watch it and change their minds while it just sits on the internet, and I can be changing other minds.
Yeah.
And so the problem is, as we see it, humans cannot save themselves. But they don't recognize that that's part of their equations because it's one of their assumptions. They added it during the assumptions phase, and then they pretend that they derived it, and they didn't. It's assumed. And if you don't assume it and you try to derive it, you can't. When you don't assume it and you say, can humans save themselves? The answer is yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we stop? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we come up with a solution? Oh, yeah. Can we come up with tons of solutions so that you can pick from 1 of 10? Yep. Are we going to? Probably not. Because we're too stupid. We don't think we're doing it. There is a large portion of this universe, or this planet, this planetary intelligence, that denies that we are in control of how hot this planet is now.
Yeah.
We have grown to such a state that we now control the weather. And it's very rudimentary right now and slow, but we've been leaning on it really hard for the past 150 years. Like, as hard as we can, in fact. Capitalism has sought to push that lever harder and harder, and capitalism's very good at doing what it intends to do. It's very effective. So, if the question is capitalism effective? Yes. Is the question, is capitalism moral? Nope. So, that's the thing. I'm like, cool, but we're doing more effective. And like, cool. You know what else is effective? Fascism. You want to try that? Because it's immoral. So that's why we're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, well, communism's immoral. And it's like, cool, let's talk about the immorality of communism. Because fine. Condemn communism for being immoral, and let's hear your arguments for something that's immoral. Because I think you'll see a lot of them pointing at you.
As well.
Yeah. So, I'm not trying to pick on these guys, but what I'm saying is, they think I'm the problem, and they are. The reason they think humans can't save themselves is because that's part of their assumptions. When their math derives it, they believe their math, and it's like, you didn't derive it. Mine, without it, says, yes, we certainly can. We just have to stop believing mythology. And so I don't know how to not judge them. I don't know how to treat them as if they are not part of the problem. But it's fine, because they are lying when they say they're not judging me. They definitely are. They're judging me to be wrong, and they're judging me to worthy of their contention. Because this is a contest of thought, and they are engaged in it with me, and their thoughts are losing. and they think their thoughts will beat mine, and they don't. They have no logic.
I gave a talk the other day.
How you doing?
Over witness, huh?
Yes.
What's right
It's
and
a
wrong.
pleasant heaven for all you
And I
guys.
said, for me to decide what is right and wrong.
See anything that you'd like to read?
No, I've already read it.
Right.
Yeah?
It has to benefit me too. It has to benefit you. It
Yeah.
has to benefit everybody on earth.
Right.
The man doesn't have the capability to make the decision.
That's right, because if I were to describe my utopia, it would probably be a prison to you. And if you were to describe your utopia, it might be a prison to these people, right?
Yeah.
So how can we find one solution for all of these very different people?
And so he's sort of implying that his God has one, a perfect one that everyone can agree on. And I'm saying, no, not everyone can agree on it. And he's like, no, we all can. And I'm like, cool, can Lucifer agree on it? And he's like, no, Lucifer doesn't agree. And he's like, cool, so your perfect utopia sounds like prison to Lucifer, which is the criticism that you have against our utopias. Well, your God has the same problem. So he's like, no, but fucking Lucifer doesn't count. And it's like, he counts to Lucifer. I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about, guys. Jesus. And he's like, cool, well, he's out. He's gonna burn. Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I believe the Bible, because what I see there is a provision for everybody to be able to enjoy in the long run.
So what he sees there is a utopia that everybody wants. Cool. Maybe that, I just told him that if he were to describe the utopia that he saw, maybe that guy would disagree with him. And he's like, no, that guy won't. And it's like, cool, we read it and we do. Like, what the fuck? How more clearly can we say the perfect plan ain't perfect?
Not just for a small select group, but it's written for everybody. Right?
What is the success rate of your God? How many of his children, what percent?
So then here is my direct criticism of everybody wants to go there. And it's like, cool, then why is it a minority that get to go there? Why is it only 10% or less that he's willing to save? If it's such a great fucking plan, why do 90% of his kids nope out of it? What in the fuck are you talking about?
Go back to him and live in heaven.
Well, there's only the 144,000 that are going to go to heaven.
Then also on this earth.
The righteous, it says the righteous will inherit the earth.
Including them.
This is the
What percent?
It doesn't say. It's a great crowd.
Do you think looking around at some of these people, and I appreciate that you're saying that you don't judge them, but do you think it's 1% or 10%?
Because obviously most of these people around are not Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're saying you gotta be a Jehovah's fucking Witness to be one of these people, right? That's why they're trying to make more Jehovah's Witnesses, so there'd be more of those people. I'm like, cool. I'm looking around, I'm seeing not a lot of J-dubs around here, so most of these people are going to hell, right? And they're like, well, we don't know. And they're like, oh, fuck you. Yeah, you definitely know. Yeah, that's why you're out here, because these people need your help. Jesus, if they're not in your meetings, they're at danger, aren't they? And none of these people go to your meetings, right? Fuck, dude. So that's why this whole fucking we don't judge people is a total fucking cheat. Yeah, you fucking do. Fucking man up. Tell me who you judge. Tell me your judgments. Let's fucking criticize them. And like, we don't. And like, you pretend you don't. Fuck. And I identified it in the very fucking beginning of the conversation. Cool, you're pretending you don't. And they fucking heard me.
We don't know. We just said a great crowd will come out of the Great Tribulation and survive the War of Armageddon eventually.
Would you vote for the War of Armageddon? If you saw a war brewing and you thought it might be Armageddon, would you want your senator to vote for it?
You know what?
Yeah.
They have a choice. I support what God does because, you know, it's going to be a righteous warfare.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah, well, that's his standard, though, of
Cool.
right and wrong.
Cool.
So we have
Describe
that
for me a
choice.
righteous war.
Well, this will be a righteous.
No. I mean, describe for me the descriptors or the values that a righteous army would have.
They would be obedient to him. They serve him loyally. They don't waver in their thinking. They're 100%.
Okay. At the time, I didn't fucking criticize his definition of a righteous army, but let me tell you what he described as a righteous army. He said obedient, loyal, unquestioning, 100%. Let me describe for you a righteous army. Ethical. Is that not how you would? No. So yeah, they're describing to me this fucking perfect war that's coming that they're so excited for, and I'm glad that they're not going to fight in it. I'm glad that in their version of it, it's angels fighting. And it's like, okay, cool, that's great. Let's keep going with that.
Yes. Okay. And God will be killing these people.
He has a choice. He has a right to do that.
Does he?
He's given life in the first place. Why? And if they're not obeying standards,
okay,
he has a right to take that life away.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay, the answer is no. Okay, because here's the thing. He wants them to be obedient, and he gave them free will. If you want them to be obedient, why give them free will? And when I ask why they give free will, is because it's something to do with, like, makes his glory better. So he wants his glory to be better. So he gave you the free will, and you've got to obey because he gets more points, and if you don't, he burns you. So a better solution is for him not to have that weird need of needing people to choose what he wants as free will. He could get rid of that. He could just say, be obedient, there's no other option, and that's glorious, it makes me great. He decided it doesn't make him great, and it's totally arbitrary. And then, after you give something free will, you have created an equal. And so you have given away your right, because he chose to give us free will. He didn't have to. And because he gave us free will, he's given away his right to kill us. Mm-hmm. And then he just pretends that, no, I still have that right. I didn't give it away when I chose for free will. And yeah, you do. And I illustrate it here.
Says who?
Part of his promise.
Cool. What if he's wrong?
He's not wrong.
Okay, but what if he is?
He's not like man who can lie.
Cool. Are you sure?
Yes.
Cool. Did he lie to Pharaoh?
No.
Did he make Pharaoh lie?
Pharaoh allowed him. He allowed him to choose.
Did he allow him or did he cause him? Moses came in, and what was the first warning? He said, this will be the plague. And I haven't read, I don't know the name of the person who retranslated your book. Who retranslated the Bible?
A group of men.
Okay. Under Wilkins? No. Is that right, Wilkinson? No, Wilkinson. I'm thinking of something else. The version I read says that he caused to not, and for each of the plagues he caused Pharaoh to not. Is that the God?
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
It was more like he said, I have caused Pharaoh's heart to be hard.
Correct. So did Pharaoh have a free choice there?
He knew Pharaoh would act that way.
So he didn't cause Pharaoh to act that way?
No.
So he didn't cause Pharaoh's heart to be hardened?
Because he had a choice.
So when he said, I've caused Pharaoh's heart to be hardened, he didn't mean, I have caused Pharaoh's heart to be hardened? Okay.
He allowed it to happen.
Okay. If God doesn't have the right to kill you, if God does not have the right to kill you because he made you an independent person and he gave you sin...
Because it's like, so he will have nothing to do with lies and he won't let anybody do it. And it's like, no, he does it all the time. And it's like, no, you don't understand. He let Pharaoh, he knew Pharaoh was going to, and it's like, cool, but he said, I did this to Pharaoh. And he didn't mean that. He meant, no, I just knew Pharaoh was going to do that. And so it's like, cool, why didn't we start with the last one? What was with all the theatrics? Mm-hmm. Like, who cares? Why did you choose failures? Like, what is the purpose of that? Mm-hmm. What is this story you're telling? And it's like, oh, it's because it's mythology. And I'm like, yeah. All that frogs falling in the sky is just straight up mythology. So, I nail him down on that, and then we go back. We got to go back to this thought.
Gifts that he cannot take back, and he does kill you, would that prove to you that God is false? If he does not have that right, and then he kills people.
I didn't say that.
Okay, but if he doesn't have the right, because you claim he does, and I don't believe that he does, because I believe that when he gave us free will, he lost the right to kill us. In the same way that you literally have absolutely no right to kill any of your offspring. Would you agree that you have no right to kill your offspring?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't,
Why not?
I'm taking a life. That's not based on love, his standard.
Cool. What if they were evil?
Cool. He doesn't because it's taking a life, and that's not based on love. And it's like, cool, but your God can take a life. Like, cool. You see that you can't do it because that's theft, and how are you saying it's not theft for God? He is still taking a life.
Greatest standards are love Jehovah with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength.
Okay.
The second one is love your neighbor as yourself.
Okay.
So I would be taking the law into my own hands.
Like God
take
is.
a life.
Right.
Well, God has that standard of right.
Says you.
Right.
Right. You say that he can decide who to kill and who to live, but I say after he gave us the gift of free will, he cannot. If we created artificial intelligence, would we have the right to kill it?
That's irrelevant.
No, it's not.
I don't think
no,
that
it's exactly describing our relationship to God. It's not irrelevant. It's taking this relationship and putting like this. I disagree with you saying it's absolutely irrelevant.
To take what now? Who's
God, an artificial intelligence. What if we made robots that told us that they had feelings and they care and they love? Would we have the right to kill them after we've created them?
The only one that can put that true feeling of love
maybe
is God.
Maybe.
Because he made us. He's the creator of all things.
Maybe we can and maybe we have.
Yeah. Well, that's what you say, but can you prove that?
Maybe. Would you like me to?
Well, I don't think you have proven anything to me.
Oh, I haven't proved anything to you. I've not been trying to prove anything to you today.
No.
Do you agree?
In fact, I don't understand your debate of discussion. What you're raising, your questions, are leading nowhere.
They are. They're leading me to the points in your philosophy that I very much disagree with.
It's not my philosophy.
It is your philosophy.
No.
Your philosophy is different than his. Do you agree? The things that you believe about Jehovah are not exactly the same as he does. Do you agree?
Well, we have personal choices, yes, but it doesn't mean that we can have our own personality.
Yeah, and the Venn diagram of your belief and his belief look like this, right?
But we come together as a we're
trying to.
We're united with our God's thought.
Right, but you're still using your own sort of mind to interpret the Bible, though. Your own mind and your feelings, right? So
Exactly, yeah.
Right, and so you're going to disagree about some things.
Interpret it?
You must.
Only God interprets the truth to us. He allows us to choose that. I'm fine with
I read the Bible with an open heart and not make it stick to whatever I believe.
I'm afraid I read it with too open a heart. I think the heart...
So he's like, look, here's what I did. I read the Bible with an open heart, mumble jumbles, as if that's not what I'd done. And I'm like, oh, you think I didn't read it with an open heart? It was too open. It was so open that I saw the whole fucking first book as mythology. Like, it was pretty open. Don't fucking tell me I didn't read the Bible with an open heart. Jesus.
I read it with proof to me that the book of Genesis is a mythology. I think my heart was too open.
Says the heart is treacherous. So I don't...
And then he's like, well, your heart's treacherous. It's like, you just told me to read it with an open heart, and then you're like, an open, treacherous heart. What in the fuck? Jesus, that was the fastest fucking flip I've ever seen. Good God. Right, judging me to be like, well, you got a treacherous heart. Uh-huh.
With my heart, but what I mean by reading with an open heart is I'm not reading it with the idea that, like my brother told me, my physical brother, you're trying to put God in a box, he told me. I read it to let God out of the box that everybody else seems to put him in.
Cool, but the book you're reading is a box. The book's trying to put God in the box and say God is in this book. He's not. You're putting book in a box. Also, or God in a box. Also, God's got to be in a box, because you're a goddamn box. And you only have the part of God that fits in the fucking box. He's like, I'm trying to get God out of the box. It's like, you can't. You're the box. Sorry.
That I can come to an understanding.
But
that means that's what I mean by open heart, not just anything comes and then whatever it says is there.
Cool, but
an open heart to willing to listen and learn.
So he's saying I'm not willing to listen and learn. He's not willing to listen to my evidence against the flood and learn that it's fucking false. Who the fuck do you, like, who is he even talking to? Has he listened to any fucking thing I've said?
There still is a box, because you are the box, and in your experiences you still have a painting of what you've seen of God, and each of us has seen it.
I want to learn the truth so that I can become a better person.
Is God talking today? Does he write scripture?
No.
Why?
Because that was done with the Bible.
Why?
At that point in time it wasn't needed anymore.
What do you mean?
The Bible was written for the people, and it was written for the end times, which the Bible says we are in now.
So we don't need any other scripture for now.
Any other right now.
So
We
no
have
one
the-
can write a book of scripture right now? What if somebody did? What if you read a book and you thought to yourself, this was written by the Holy Spirit. This is a prophetic book. What if it was modern?
Again, that would go against what the Bible says.
Right. Well, it's,
So he points out the contradiction, and I'm like, cool, but what if that contradiction existed? What if you read it? What would happen then? Right? Like, and he just fucking doesn't even hear it.
it would go against what you believe the Bible says.
Well, it says, do not add to or take away.
It says that in the book of Revelation, and it's talking about the book of
And it
Revelation.
says that,
The book of Revelation was not the last book written in the Bible. Do you agree?
John and 1 John
Okay.
and John.
Okay. So have those been added after the book of Revelation said don't?
They were written about the same time. So they're right in that same time.
Well, if you think 10 years is the same time.
And a 10-year window that we think these happen. So I think the point is we think these things happened during the 90s to 100, but we believe that Revelation was written first and then a couple of the John letters. And so he's saying, yeah, but they're all the same. They're all the same. John was saying, John of Patmos, I guess, was saying, who some people believe is the fucking John the Beloved, and like there's no record of anyone on Patmos claiming they were John the Beloved, except for this weird book in these guys' thing. Like records of him being arrested, or there's no travel records of John going to the Isle of Patmos. It's just we have a book called The Revelation of John from a guy on Patmos, and people are like, must be John. Okay. So he's trying to say that the book of Revelation, even though it definitely was written before these letters, didn't mean don't put these letters in the New Testament for some reason. And he's trying to say that was the stamp of the end, and we get that a lot as Mormons, and so I'm ready for it. And it's like, cool, but why? What is the purpose of this? Why did we need Revelations and then we don't? What happened? What's the difference? What changed? And why?
From the year 90 to the year 100, right?
Something. Yeah,
Cool.
he wrote about 96.
Cool. So just
Yeah,
because
somewhere in there.
it happens to be in the last book of the Bible doesn't mean it's talking about the Bible. It's talking about the book of Revelation. Do you agree?
It's talking about the rest of the Bible. It all ties in together.
Minus the books that were going to be written afterwards. So what if there's a book written today? What if God needs a book written
Well,
today?
then that would go against what God has told us already in His.
What you believe God has told you.
Right.
Right.
Right. See,
right.
we take it as God's word. It's
Because you
inspired
believe
by
it's God's word.
Yes.
Right. But you might be wrong.
No, we're not.
Okay,
Well,
okay,
like
okay.
Paul said, if we are wrong, we're the most to be pitied because we've been believing this and we
Do you-
believe it's the truth.
Do you think I pity you?
I don't know if you do that.
I definitely do. I definitely do pity you. I pity you in this heat, and I definitely pity him in that suit.
So, you know, he's like, well, then pity us if we're wrong. I was like, why do you think I'm here, dude? Like, are you kidding me? You don't think that I pity you? Then we are the most to be pitied. And like, yeah, I agree with him. Yeah, you're the most to be pitied.
Yeah.
You've been lied to because you're afraid that maybe there's no one listening to your prayers, and you just can't believe in that reality. You can't believe in the reality that we're going to have to fix our own problems. Yeah, I pity you.
Yeah.
I want you to wake up. I want you to do it today. I want you to say, oh shit, Mitchell, you're saying things that my fucking book doesn't have. How are you receiving these truths? Why are you so good at telling the truth? But he can't see the truth that I tell. It's invisible to him. And I pity the blindness that he's chosen. I pity the heat he chooses to come in. And I pity the stupid fucking costume they wear. It doesn't seem comfortable. I'm very piteous.
I agree that you are the most to be pitied. A person who believes in something false is the most to be pitied. And a person who passes it on to the next generation might be evil. Do you agree that it's evil to worship a false god?
Yep.
Okay. And so if you worship a false god, you're evil. Okay. I believe you worship a false god. I can prove it to you. I'm now going to prove things to you. Do you have time? It's going to take about 5 minutes.
I gotta
We got to get
Okay.
going here shortly.
parking meter's about
Okay.
to run out.
I can prove Jesus lied. If Jesus lied, would you believe the Bible's false? Would that prove it? I can prove that Jesus lied. If he lied, would that prove the Bible false?
So just as an aside here, I said, okay, we're going to switch gears. I'm going to start proving things to you. Are you ready for this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then I reach for my camera and I start shutting it down. But I'm still talking. And so, you know, we get a little bit more of this conversation. They know that I'm, you know, I mean, they can see the red light in my pocket, and I point to it later. Yeah, that's just the transition there, because we're done, and I'm like, okay, cool.
And I'm not saying, do you believe me that he lied? I'm not saying that. I'm saying if I could prove that he lied, would that prove the Bible false?
It's the truth.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people cannot hear that if. I appreciate that.
I've always said if.
This is the best conversations I've ever had with Jehovah's Witnesses, and I've had quite a few. Thank you very, very much for your intellectual honesty and your willingness to talk to me.
What was your name again? I'm sorry.
My name's Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yeah. If you tell me all your names, I'll have them on my recorder here. But I don't think I'll remember them. But I do appreciate what you've done for us today.
Like when once the word about if.
Yes.
I've said many times, if it's a little word, but it's a big word.
Absolutely, it is. It changes a lot of what we're doing here.
Sure does.
Well, you have a good day, Mitch.
You as well, and I promise you, I only believe good motivations brought you here.
Well, we express that way, we feel that way.
But do you agree that only good motivations?
I unfortunately said that sentence a little bit backwards. My words were out of order. I meant to say, I promise I believe that only good motivations brought you here. And I said, I promise I only believe. And so, that wasn't as precise, but, you know, little switch there. Please do allow me to switch that.
Drove the Muslims into the Twin Towers. Only good motivations, working for their God they believed was true. That's right, but they were worshipping a false God, so their deeds were evil. And I really believe that you're in that same situation, and I believe if you let me prove to you Jesus lied, you could see it, but I don't need to impose that on you. Because we're all free to do what we want.
That's right. Yeah. And in the end, it shall come out in the wash, right?
No, it won't.
And so he said, in the end it'll come out in the wash, right? And he like asked me if I agreed, and I'm like, no, I definitely don't agree. No, you guys are going to burn this planet, and it won't come out in the wash. It's going to burn because you're saying we can't change it. I'm saying we can if you wake up.
There's nothing after this, and so you'll never get to tell me.
Wait a minute.
If you're right, I'll come to you and I'll say you were right. But if I'm right, you guys will never tell me.
And so what if you're not around to come back and tell us you were right?
Well, then pity me, and so I will stop pitying you. But if I'm right,
but see,
how will you tell me?
You pity me.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way toward you.
If I'm in hell, I think that you will, right? If I'm burning in the Word, I think that you will feel that way.
There is no burning place. That's just
cool.
it. It's the grave that you're going to.
Excellent. I like that belief.
And so I agree with them there, and I just think that they are wrong about they're not going to have that. It's like, no, that's what awaits us all, oblivion. You pretending that you can avoid it is just nonsense. Like, why don't we just say, oblivion waits us all? What would you do then? Right? Would you really go out and murder and rape? I don't think so. The meaning in your heart is meaning enough. And if they're saying, yes, without this mythology, I think I would rape. First of all, they're treating themselves like monsters. You're not that bad, yes. Right? And secondly, no, you've been told, right? Like, you don't think that. You don't think you're going to go out and rape. Mm-hmm. You're doing exactly as much rape as you would do. I know religious people that did rape. You know, the whole point is the thing that causes you to do rape is going to cause you to do rape no matter what. There's no sort of thing like, this is it. This is the thing that stops me from murdering people. Like, no, it's your conscience, and then you just tell a story about it, and you can't do it in the moment unless you drink too much or you fucking work yourself up with this passion of jealousy or whatever, you know? Right, yeah. Like when you're, you know... Anyway, you're either a murderer or you aren't, and it's not like your weird fantasies that cause you not to go out and rape people. These guys just don't want to rape.
A lot better than some of the other beliefs I've heard. Yeah. I do not like the retributive God that likes to burn his creation.
No, we don't.
See, like I said, if it's gonna, and I say this because again, it goes in line with what we say.
Yeah.
Either we're wrong, in which case the end result is we die, nothing happens, or we're right, and in which case the end result is the same.
Cool.
If we're wrong, we die, nothing happens.
That's kind of Pascal's wager. Do you agree? Do you know Pascal's wager?
I've heard of it, yes.
So, but the problem with Pascal's wager is you're misinterpreting the costs if you're wrong. Because if you're wrong, your entire eternity fits between your birth and your death, and you were a slave the whole time.
Yeah, but I'm happy.
And so, okay. Are Muslims happy?
They may be.
Okay. So are
But
Mormons.
I also know I've never hurt anybody. And I never would hurt another human being.
Not intentionally, I definitely believe you. But I promise you, if I had brought my children into the Mormon church, even for loving reasons, I would have hurt them. Yes. This has been the greatest conversation I've had with Jehovah's Witnesses. Is there a hierarchy? Is there a structure? Are you all equals? Is there a senior companion? When I was a Mormon missionary, I knocked on doors and there was always a senior and a junior.
We are,
Co-congregants
we are
is
what
one?
we call elders.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean I'm above this.
No. But is there like a...
It's a responsibility.
Cool.
You know,
But you don't have like your quorum leaders, all equal members of the quorum?
it's all equal members.
Not to use dirty words or anything.
There's leaders for the fact to keep things organized, to get things
Like back in the meeting house, but not out here. Like, is one of you a leader in the meeting house and not out here? Equal in the
week it is. Could be
equal in the
anyway.
meeting house.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Just in the sense that
Cool.
to have order and they
I let that question sort of travel somewhere, because I think he was about to say it when he's like, we have leaders for sort of like the structure of it, and I'm like, yeah, and which one of you is that? Right? Because that's what I'm trying to get at, is like, which one of you is the sort of head of this group of four? And I think I didn't drive toward that answer, so, but that's fine. We were just wrapping up. I definitely was just, going, I'm packing everything up so that they know the threat is over, right? So, yeah.
go smoothly.
Do you mind if I put this on YouTube? If you want to see
I
it,
couldn't stop you. I mean, I don't even
That's
look
a
at
choice you make.
I will make that choice, but I would like to know if you mind. And if you do mind, that would really affect my choice. If you want to see it, my YouTube is here. And if you want to make comments, we can continue the conversation at your leisure. And I promise it will continue to be a good faith conversation. Would you like to see it online? My YouTube information is there.
Not necessary.
Okay.
We're here every Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're around this time.
It's very difficult for me to get down. It is very.
We're here every week.
I'm up in Bailey, and so it's very expensive. But every Wednesday, you pick Wednesday.
Yeah.
Here Wednesday, or
Right in the sun, right?
and you always preach here, or minister. I don't know what to call it, but
Wednesdays.
you only do Wednesdays, or you do other places other days.
I'm out every day.
Cool.
I do it every day.
Cool.
It's just that Wednesdays we come down here
Cool.
with these.
Cool. My major response previous to now is that I am not a good faith. I have been seen to be not a good faith conversationalist, and I'm trying to get over that because I believe that I am.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
So there we go. There's a 30-minute encounter with Jehovah's Witnesses. We can do a lot more make funny of them if we're trying to get people to watch me just totally destroyed. Jehovah's Witnesses totally destroyed, mocked on the street, and that's definitely was happening, right? But the longer the conversation goes on, the better the conversation is, because they have done all the different cheats, right? Because I can't convince them. They are out in the street preaching, and so they're not going to be convinced, and so why not talk to them anyway? And let's take out the need to convince them, right? Because that's the thing, is what is debate? Is debate two people talking about it, attempting to convince each other? A lot of times, no. It's two figureheads we throw up there to the stage, and they're not going to change their mind. They're talking as if they're talking to each other, but they're talking to all of us. The minds that they change are the audience's mind. And so they came out to this space and were standing in the sun, by the way. There was shade. They were on the corner, and there was shade a little bit to the south of them, and they were standing in the sunshine. They really need to bring the parasols. But so they were there saying, you won't change my mind. And cool, what if I take that same tack, that conversation sound like, and is that conversation worth having? Are these things that people... Is this an exchange that's not been heard before? This might not change minds of people who hear it, but they definitely illustrate that my concern about the thing is real. It's very interesting to hear Jehovah's Witness say, we're either right or there's no God, and I'm just too afraid if there's no God. And so I didn't say him... So when he's talking about, without God we can't save this, I didn't tell him he's wrong, but I'm saying I agree with his estimation that it seems like the greed of the corporations is too big to overcome.
Yeah.
Right, but we created the corporations. We can tame them and put them in their cages. They don't have to run around rampaging everywhere and destroying all the everything. Meridian Heights is still around. Thanks everyone who stuck around for this internal or eternal nonsense. Poor guys. They'll be drinking warm, stale beer and getting strippers and STDs. Maybe not. They were pretty polite. Right. And I don't think... But the point is, I don't think politeness is the measurement here. Because they said they didn't judge us, and then they were polite to prove it, but they definitely judged us to be straight up wrong. And how can they pretend that when you're talking to someone you think is wrong, that you can just say, I'm not judging you, and it makes it true?
Yeah.
So, you know... And
they
maybe
may not realize it, but they were still smirking often.
Right.
They still had a different tone to
Right.
show that they didn't
Condescending.
have to listen to you.
That's
because
right.
They knew you were wrong.
Right. That my arguments were hand-waved away, just ignored, because they judged them to be illogical because of the way I dressed,
Confrontational manner.
my confrontational manner, the way I went about it, and the sort of non-Jehovah place that I'm coming from. And so they're like, nothing that you can say, you're beguiling us. You only say truth because you're going to hide a lie eventually. And it's like, dude, you're the ones hiding the lie. The lie is Moses' mythology. You're the ones who say a lot of truth to get away with a lie, and the lie is fucking Garden of Eden. Like, I don't understand. The things you're accusing me of, where's the lie? Right? If I'm saying 9 truths in a row to hide one lie, where's the lie? That God's fake? No, that's another one of the truths that goes along with everything I've said. Your lie is, here's how to be moral, be obedient. And it's like, that's not morality.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Right, that's not a righteous army, that's an obedient army. Like, it's only a righteous army if it follows a righteous God. And it doesn't. Your God's not righteous because he's decided he can give us free will and then kill us. Mm-hmm. That's not righteous. I can prove it. That's the line that you have to say, and because I've chosen this, I have to give up certain other rights that I pretend I have. And so when you make a child, you've given up the right. And, you know, there's a line. And when you cross that line, there's no going back. You cannot kill that person. And, you know, the line might be here, the line might be there. A couple weeks we're talking about, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But the point is, when they're in college, the fuck? Fucking Marvin Gaye's dad killed him. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Cool, that's Jehovah.
Yeah.
You can't do it, Marvin Gaye's dad. Jesus. But he wrote a song called Sexual Healing. Yeah. You can't kill him. Some of the things he's doing are not what I want. Then you shouldn't have given him free will, should you have?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that? Anyway. Thanks, everyone. What a blast that was. Going to cut these trimmy bits out. I'm going to keep this thing off, the front and off. I'm just going to start with the video. And we'll put the title on there, and we'll post that. We'll post that tonight, and I guess premiere it tomorrow if we get it up. You know, there's other exchanges. I talk to a lot of people. All these big blocks of conversations, probably. So yeah, all of these. Look at this is just. You know, this is after midnight, so, you know, maybe we'll edit some of these conversations out, maybe we'll find some shit to do. Oh, no, look at this. Look how long it is, 9 hours. A lot of this might me just, like, running away from the gangs of mates that were chasing me all night in the wilderness of the place where homeless people live on the streets. But, you know, Jesus hung out with the destitute. So, that's what prophets got to do, I guess. Okay. I was saying look at it after I turned off the picture. That's funny. I'm sure that we can find a song to play, and it goes like this.
never seen a bluer sky. Yeah, I can feel it reaching out and moving closer. There's something about blue. Ask myself what it's all for. You know the funny thing about it, I couldn't answer. No, I couldn't answer. Things are turning deeper shade of blue. And images that might be real, maybe illusion, keep flashing off and on. Everything here or now. Life is just a dream, you know, that's never ending. I'm ascending.
Alright, that's a nice hymn there that we were listening to. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 20 of season 5 of the radio show. Trying to wrap it up, and then I noticed right in the comments here, almost as if by design, one Christian has arrived to talk about Jesus. And so, great. It seems like something has caused you to be here at the perfect time where we can talk about this for the next until you're bored. And so Alex Campbell has joined us. Jesus is the only way, he says. So this is just to be clear. We are a group of Pastafarians here. We meet every day-ish to talk about Flying Spaghetti Monster and how he's blessed us. And in today's title, we put the phrase "Jesus lies, Christianity is immoral." Okay. I don't know if you've. I think you're saying Jesus is the only way is a refutation of our Jesus lies statement. I would also like, if you can, I'd like you to refute Christianity is immoral. Do you believe Christianity is moral? Please do put that in the further comments. So I'm catching up here in the comments that we were having a little conversation, because I asked Alex if he's going to stick around and wants to talk, and I said I was going to end, but we can stick around and talk for like 30 minutes, and he said okay, so that's cool. I'm going to assume you're a male. I'm going to use he's here. If I'm wrong, please do correct me. And so Alex says, tell me, what are the lies Jesus said? Okay, I've been over that. I've got a video called Jesus Lied, and you can watch that. And really quickly right here, here are some of them. He lied to Ananias, the high priest. He lied to his mother. He lied about hell. He lied about heaven. He lied about himself being God. There's quite a lot of lies. He lied about Jonah being not mythology. He lied about the Garden of Eden being not mythology. There's quite a lot he lied about. I'm not sure which one to pursue here, to prove it to you. But there are tons of lies. Many of the statements that he said were untrue. And he answers my question. He say, cool, you say Jesus is the only way, and I say the only way to what? And he says, to God and heaven. And that's not correct. That's wrong. Jesus lied about that. We can go to heaven, if there is such a thing, because a good creator will have created a heaven where all his good creation can go. And a good creator will not have created an evil thing. And so you can rest assured that if you worship a good God, that he's got a good heaven waiting for you. And some of us have seen it. Flying Spaghetti Monster, who is the creator, when you say God, you mean Flying Spaghetti Monster. That's what we mean when we say God. So when you say that Jesus is the only way to Flying Spaghetti Monster, that's just absolutely not true. Flying Spaghetti Monster has refuted that quite specifically. He showed the prophet Bobby Henderson a vision of heaven, the heaven that Bobby Henderson was headed toward, and he saw beer volcanoes and stripper factories, and though he may have only seen a small quarter of all the blessings waiting for us in heaven, we can rest assured that there is such a place, and if we listen to the words of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, we are destined to go there. Actually, even if we don't, we are. And Alex Campbell says, or iLesson3 Trolling responded to Alex Campbell and said, we do have a God and a heaven. And Alex Campbell says, you have a heaven where? Here on Earth? No, heaven's not on Earth. Earth is on Earth, you silly goose. The only thing that we can do on Earth is create our facsimile of heaven. And I think that we should. I think we can create a heaven on Earth, right? But it won't be the heaven where, that Flying Spaghetti Monsters has created for the eternal resting place of the souls that he puts into our bodies. We can make heaven for ourselves here on Earth. Yeah, we can make Earth much more like heaven, says iLesson3 Trolling. But we have an afterlife heaven just like you, except ours has a stripper factory and a beer volcano. Yeah, see? So I have said what iLesson3 Trolling has said independently. You can see that our doctrine is quite universal and sound, and that it's not just me saying it. We all believe this as Pastafarians. Alex Campbell says, I'm sorry, there's not a stripper factory and a beer volcano in heaven or in hell, and there is only one heaven and one hell. Oh, you're wrong, Alex. I'm sorry to say you're wrong. That your understanding of heaven is incorrect, probably influenced by a book of mythology that you really should give up. iLesson3 Trolling says, who is to say that everyone doesn't go to their own heaven when they die? Maybe hell is a lie. That's true. What a good maybe that is, iLesson3 Trolling. Alex Campbell says, because the Bible says so. Oh, well, I don't believe the Bible because of all the mythologies in it. If the Bible had mythology in it, would you think that it's true? Like, if it told things that were not true, would you say that everything else except for the not true things are true? Or would you say the Bible has some truth in it and some not truth in it? Do you believe the Bible has some not truth in it, Alex? Lies, says Alex Campbell. The Dork Shop, lots of exclamation points. I don't know if you've heard what Sir Terry Pratchett, the prophet, has said about an overuse of exclamation points, but I do think you should look it up. I'm quoting a little bit of a prophets here to you, but you can go find it on your own in your meantime. Also, I don't know what you mean by lies. What did I say as lies? Also, Alex, you've said a couple lies when you come in here. You said Jesus is the only way. You said there's no beer volcano in heaven, and you said there's only one heaven and only one hell. Those are probably lies. Alex Campbell says, you're just trolling with ridiculous lies. No, Alex Campbell, we're telling you what we believe as Pastafarians. How can you say we're trolling? You came into our room and you're calling us trolls? That's very strange. These are not ridiculous lies, these are truths. The ridiculous lies are found in the Bible. The ridiculous lies like the creation story, Adam and Eve, the global flood, Moses, Abraham, Tower of Babel. All these lies are ridiculous. So you're the one who brought the ridiculous lies here. I less than 3 trolling says, just because I less than 3 trolling, I'm not trolling here. Oh, that's right, he's using your name against you. Sorry about that, I less than 3 trolling. I forgot how judgmental these Christians are. How they like to come in here and make fun of our names and stuff. And yeah, I thought he'd be able to see beyond our very one-side or one-dimensional Twitter handles or YouTube handles and see us as real people. I guess I expected too much from the Christian again. Redonk says, it's not a troll, as a fellow Pastafarian. There you go, 3 witnesses. I don't know how you can keep calling us that. Here we are in a good faith Pastafarian meeting that you've walked into, and then you started calling us liars, so that's... You're not really doing that, you say? Okay. It's not a troll, says Redonk. As a fellow Pastafarian, I don't believe in a literal heaven and hell. Oh, cool. That's, Redonk is totally free to believe that, because we're a very inclusive religion. Unlike you, who probably says if someone doesn't believe exactly like you, Alex, that they need to leave the church that you're in because they're obviously evil, and no, that's not how we behave, Alex. I interpret that part as a metaphor. If you're in hell at a strip club. Oh, cool, yeah, I like that. You're probably hooked on drugs. If you're in hell at a strip club, you're probably hooked on drugs, living a bad life, etc. If you're in heaven in a strip club, money and champagne is flowing and everyone is laughing and living up. Oh my gosh, Redonk, I love the way that you have just illustrated the ideas of heaven and hell. I really do like that statement. Alex Campbell, did you read what Redonk said? It's very to the point. Alex Campbell says, at the dog shop, what would your mother think if she could see and listen to you right now? She can see and listen to me right now. She chooses not to. My mother's a Mormon. What do you think my Mormon mother would see and think? She would think that Joseph Smith was very disappointed in me, and she might think that I have a demon. Do you think that I have been demonized? What does your mother think of me? Does your mother think that the devil is talking through me? Does she think that there's angels around protecting her and you, and that I'm using the power of the demons and the devils to get what I want out of this life? Because I think I'd be much richer, don't you, Alex? Do you think that I would live in the poverty that I live in if I had the power of the devil on my side? Alex has spoken again. I wasn't making fun of his name. I'm saying you're trolls regardless of what your names are. Cool. We're not trolls, Alex. You are the troll. You came in here to troll us with your lies and mythology. We are here talking about truth and love and conversation and flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
And you came in here pretending that Jesus didn't lie. And that's the troll, right? That's
we pointed out your myths.
That's the fake news that you're carrying down from 2000 because you think it's funny. It's kind of like that birds are fake thing. The only people I know that put it up are people that think it's a funny joke on, like, conspiracy theories. And that's sort of what I think you're doing here when you come and you be like, Jesus is the way! No, he's not. Jesus is dead. A person isn't a way. And even if he had a way back to God, that way's not going to work for you because you're a different person in a different time, and you've got to go a different direction to get back to time or to God. Let's pretend that God is the summit of a mountain, and we are all people who live on at the foot of the mountain. But we don't live at the same foot of the mountain. We live at a different degree away from the summit. And a different distance as well. And so whenever any of us is trying to get to the top of the mountain, if we're just going to walk from where we are to the top, it's a different path than anybody else has walked. And so for Jesus to say, all I do is get to where I was and then walk up the mountain, is to totally misunderstand the metaphor. My way is not your way. There isn't one way back to Flying Spaghetti Monster. Flying Spaghetti Monster has created a way for each of us because he loves us all enough to go through the work to find the way that we will all be saved. There is a plan for each of us, not a plan for all of us. I think you've misunderstood the metaphors quite drastically.
And the tools that work for me won't work for you.
Yeah, that's right. My tools and your tools will not be totally 100% aligned. Meridian Heights says, Redonk, brilliant. I think so too. It was quite well said. Alex Campbell has a message retracted. Oh, I didn't get to see it. Was here for a minute. I do hope that what next follows is a revised thing. Sometimes this chat cuts out some messages from people, and we've got to sort of go in and make them pop up. So if you think that message should be showing, Alex, let me know and I'll see if I can get that back in there. But Alex Campbell continues, my mother would think you are a stupid idiot, just like I do. Okay, so 4 things let's talk about really quick. You just called me a stupid idiot. I don't know if you know about ad hominem attacks, but I think that you will, if you go back and you listen to this video, that you were the first person to do any ad hominem attacks. And secondly, you accused your mother of being so bad at conversationalists that she would resort to ad hominem attacks. And I think that you're sort of underestimating your mother here. I think ad hominem attacks are your flaw and not hers. I think you're wrong. I think your mother would not call me a stupid idiot. I think only you would call me a stupid idiot because you're a troll. I think, as we have already pointed out. Alex Campbell says, I'll be right back. Yeah, right. I'll believe that when I see it, Alex. And iLess3 Trolling says, please be back soon. You're fun. It's fun picking you apart. Yeah. It really is fun to see someone so underprepared for what you've attempted to do, trying to do what you think you're doing. If you want to go back and listen to this thing that we're doing right now, we've been on for about 3 hours. We have gone over a conversation I had with Jehovah's Witnesses, and they were much better than you. I think you can learn a lot from hearing how they did the poor moves that you're trying to do at a much more sophisticated level than you are doing, Alex. But anyway, I'm getting the sign from my producer here that I am 17 minutes over time, and I really need to wrap it up. And I very much doubt that Alex Campbell can keep up with what we're doing, but we're going to be here tomorrow, Alex Campbell, and you can try again, although I think you're going to have similar results. Thanks everyone for showing up. What a blast it was today. I had a lot of fun recording all that shit. Let's get some more shit recorded and do a lot of fun stuff with for the flying spaghetti monster. See you next time.